Okay, I believe we are recording now, and then I'm going to share the screen. And share computers. Okay, there's another box up here called Optimize Screen Sharing for Video Clip. I'm going to click it. Who knows, it might just kill everything, but we'll try that for the first time. Okay, do you like my camel, Andy? Okay, very good. We are off and running here. So here's our, okay, first of all, before we go in, I don't see your, why don't I see you folks on my screen?
No idea. I can see you guys.
You can? Okay,
Hey, Lojo, I think your speaker's off or something like that.
yeah, my,
We can't hear you.
suddenly I don't see anybody. I've got 6 participants, and I can see the participants. Can you see the list of participants up there? But I don't see
No.
you folks on the screen at all. Oh, well, these things happen. Okay. I'm going to stop the screen share and try again and see what's going on there. Okay, now I can see everybody, but as soon as I started to share the screen, okay, I'll bet you it turned it off because I clicked the optimize button. I'm going to unclick that and see if that makes the difference. Yep, there we are. Okay, now I was afraid of it. You click a checkbox and you never know what weird things it's going to come up with. Okay, we're back on track again then. Here's our agenda, and I have a lot of things on the agenda. Hi, Esther, we can see you now. Let's go ahead and look at some of them. One of the things I really wanted to share with you folks was this entire practice of writing verse and writing verse to existing tunes, which is really one of the easiest ways to do it, and one of the best ways to get started, because you can come up with something that's very impressive, largely because you can use a tune that everybody already knows, and that ends up just appealing directly and immediately to people. So I was going to show you some that have worked that way. I'm sure you're all familiar with that silly rhyme. How does it go? Roses are red and violets are blue, and then you make up the rest of it. Well, this is, in a sense, the same thing, except that one's very, very simple. Blue, the sound ooh, is a rhyme that has an awful lot of words that fit to it. And so you can put together almost anything, and you've already established the rhythm of the thing. So all you have to do is follow that existing rhythm and put your text in. The process of doing it to somebody else's melody is very similar. Let's look at a couple which I think you will really appreciate. I'm going to take you to a page which is linked on our page. Let's see, where did I put it in here? Writing lyrics to existing melodies. So I'm going to do that. Writing lyrics to existing melodies is up here somewhere. Okay, that's just that one. I believe I've added him. Here we are. writing lyrics to existing melodies. Do you know who these characters are?
Yup.
Okay. This is Pinky
I
and the
do
Brain.
not.
You know them? Right. It was a series. I thought in so many ways it was brilliant, and you'll see by this one. In fact, it goes into a good deal of just basic understanding of the world. It's about a couple of lab mice who have been artificially altered into intelligence, and one of them is bent on world domination, and the other one is utterly flaky. And the melody that starts it off says, one of them's a genius and the other's insane. And I think after a while, you have to conclude that it's the flaky one who's the genius and it's Brain who's insane. But let's look at this one quickly. Now, first of all, what did he use as a melody? What did this other chap use for the virus tune?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Excellent. Yes, that's exactly right. And one of the big problems with that, of course, is still under Disney copyright. And Disney will persecute anybody who tries to do anything commercial with anything like that. However, there's another source that I've always found very useful. So have many others, including Pinky and the Brain here, and including Tom Lehrer. And we're going to look at one of his as well, too. And that is the writing of Gilbert and Sullivan. You may not know who they are. They wrote a number of comic operas at the end of the 19th century, so it's all in public domain now and perfectly usable and legally usable. And he chose for this one When I Was a Lad from the opera called HMS Pinafore. And let's look at it and then take a look at the words too, which are down below. This is all in the page. The words are there. Are you ready?
What you doing, Brain?
Reading history, Pinky.
Oh, I love doing that, but I always forget to buff the chrome.
That would be waxing the card, Pinky. That's different.
Oh.
Reading history doesn't make things shiny. It edifies you and prepares you to confront the possibilities of destiny.
Did you know that every time your mouth moves, strange sounds come out?
I'll explain this so that even you can understand. Through meticulous analysis of history, I will find a way to make the people worship me. By studying the conquerors of days gone by, I'll discover the mistakes that made them go awry.
So that you can make the same mistakes if you just try.
By studying the past so carefully, I won't repeat the same mistakes of history.
You'll never make another mistake, you see, 'cause you'll fall asleep from reading all that history. Boom!
Pay attention, Pinky. When Cleopatra reigned as queen, with Roman leaders she was often seen. But when she had no ruling friend, she found a poison snake to bite her in the end.
Oh, bite down there, I really wouldn't recommend.
I won't need world alliances when I'm commanding everyone's appliances.
Oh no, Brain, that would really smart to be bitten on the bottom by a Cuisinart.
Hannibal, our book confirms, tried conquering Italy with pachyderms. Just why he failed nobody tells, but he never could get past the Roman sentinels.
And he couldn't find his weapons in the peanut shells.
An elephant is not required if I can use the media to be admired.
The TV viewers you delight, unless the network puts your show on Sunday night.
Attila was a mighty Hun. He ransacked Asia Minor just for fun. But when he got to Europe's banks, he was routed by an army of heroic Franks.
I like mine with sauerkraut and mustard, thanks.
Why pillage like a criminal when I can send out messages subliminal?
Please send a message to that Hun to see if he can pillage me a hot dog bun.
Caligula was no Boy Scout. He did things that we can't even talk about. The Romans knew he lost his head when he filled a vacant Senate seat with Mr. Ed.
What's wrong with being friendly with a thoroughbred?
Why rule like such a reprobate when I can put the world in a hypnotic state?
When everybody's in a trance, you can make the people do a chicken dance.
Pinky, if you don't stop this foolishness, I shall have to hurt you.
Okay.
In France, Napoleon Bonaparte thought beating Austria was very smart. But when he took on England too, he was beaten up by Wellington at Waterloo.
And now he's just a pastry filled with creamy goo.
Why conquer with depravity? I'll win the world by undermining gravity.
And even if your plan falls through, maybe they will name a pastry after you.
From Genghis Khan to Charlemagne, from Alexander down to Tamburlaine, I find a ruler's tragic flaw and gain a little wisdom out of each faux pas.
Don't forget the former governor of Arkansas.
That concludes my little rhyme. I hope this lesson wasn't just a waste of time.
Well, Brain, I've learned that one thing's true. Every one of them has failed, and so have you.
Thank you for that vote of confidence. Now come, we must prepare for tomorrow night.
Why? What are we going to do tomorrow night? Sing a song about all the world's cheeses?
No, Pinky. We shall try to take over the world through meticulous analysis of history.
Oh, but I like the cheese song, Brain.
Okay, could you all hear it? Okay, did you understand all the little references in it? How Napoleon is now just a pastry full of creamy goo, and Caligula did things we can't even talk about. And of course, one of the most clever at the bottom is don't forget the former governor of Arkansas. Who's that? Clinton. They actually had a picture of Clinton. Okay, it's clever. They've done their history, sort of, and put it all together. You think you're up for doing something like that? I have one more to show you if you're up for it. This one's a little shorter, and it's intensely clever, but you might find it. Well, let's do it. This is actually Tom Lehrer. He was working in the 60s, and so I think he's still alive. But let's go ahead and look at this one and think about what it took to put this together. Somebody else did the animation later, and he plays the piano while he's singing the thing, and did a lot of performing. And one of his records I had for years and played it continually. Brilliance. Some of his work was not all that brilliant, but this one is. Take a look. Oh, incidentally, this is also written to a piece by Gilbert and Sullivan. It's the Major General song from the Pirates of Penzance. Is nobody familiar with that? Oh, all right.
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and gold, protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. There's yttrium, ytterbium, actinium, rubidium, and boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, and strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, and bismuth, bromine, lithium, beryllium, and barium. There's holmium and helium and hafnium and erbium and phosphorus and francium and fluorine and terbium and manganese and mercurium, molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium and scandium and cerium and cesium and lead, praseodymium and platinum, plutonium, palladium, promethium, potassium, polonium and tantalum, technetium, titanium, tellurium and cadmium and calcium and chromium and curium. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and also mendelevium, einsteinium, nobelium, and argon, krypton, neon, radon, xenon, zinc, and rhodium, and chlorine, carbon, cobalt, copper, tungsten, tin, and sodium. These are the only ones of which the news has come to Harvard. And there may be many others, but they haven't been discovered.
Okay. That's one of his famous ones. He wrote a number of others, but can you imagine what it takes to put that together? One of the interesting parts is so many of these elements, of course, end in eum. The problem is the eum are not emphasized syllables. So you have to emphasize all 3 syllables at the end of the word to make it sound right. Radium doesn't rhyme with thurium, for example, or at least that's an example that immediately comes to mind. Anyway, you all understand what that was, right? Okay, very good. Enough of that. That's in this this page, writing lyrics to existing melodies. Now, one of the things one can do, well, I say enough of that, and I suppose I ought to just this one. You can probably guess where that one came from. It uses the same melody as Pinky and the Brain does, and of course you can figure out what it is. The biggest problem with this one is much too long. I put in some things there that I ended up chopping out to make a shorter one, but maybe later, if we find we have the time, we might like to look through it. But there's some lines in here I'm proud of. And mass production schools should only be for parents satisfied with mediocrity. And let's see. A couple of other lines I think are fairly decent in here, but we can watch just a little bit of it, and then maybe later if you feel like it.
But most kids learn a dismal way. They're sent off to a state-run public school each day.
I'd really rather I could stay at home and play.
The teacher imparts knowledge to a great big class, but has got to dumb it down so everyone will pass. While parents and children always know they can study just as rapidly as they can go.
We learn more at home than in a class where they dare not go so fast that someone might not pass.
So they send their children off to school, assuming if they don't that they would break the rule. For how can children learn to spell if they never have to undergo that classroom hell?
At least that's the balloon schools try to sell.
But we have found a better way. With school at home, our children learn much more each day. And mass production schools shouldn't only be for parents satisfied with mediocrity.
Yes, mass production schools are not for me, for I'm not satisfied with mediocrity.
I will stop there. That's enough. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay, back to our agenda. We have decided to look at Midsummer Night's Dream. And, oh, it's a fascinating thing. How much of it have you folks read? And I'm assuming probably you've watched a version or two as I requested. What did you think of it? And do you have any specific scenes you would like to try?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Andre's joined us. We have
No,
everybody.
yeah, I've been in here.
Well, but oh, great. Where's Aaron?
He's here.
I'm here as well.
Oh, you are. Okay, I don't see you, but that's fine. Okay. Yeah, Andre, go ahead. Did you have something to bring up?
No, it was I listened to the first. I listened to half of it, and I got the premise of the story, but I didn't really get the part with the play they were performing. They were performing a play in the play.
Right.
And I got kind of confused.
Yeah, no, it is a little confusing, but it's a delightful confusion.
Yeah, it was funny that I listened to the BBC version, so they had actual actors reading it. It was really good.
Okay, the BBC version, are the first one I gave you, one of the videos I have on that page was made, I think, in 1968. But it had so many brilliant people in it. Let's see if I can find the page. Here we are. This one. This is David Warner. These people have been in so many different things. This is Helen Mirren. She was in one of the major actresses, and also Judi Dench was in this one as Titania, Queen of the Fairies, and Diana Rigg as Helena. This fellow here is Puck. I don't suppose you recognize him, or do you?
Puck, yeah, he was in it.
Do you recognize him from anything else?
The Hulk.
Oh, it's about 50 years in between. He played Bilbo in the Fellowship of the Ring.
What?
Yes.
He looks so much older.
That's crazy.
Well, that's what 50 years does to you. Okay, I'm trying to remember his name, and I'll get it eventually. Anyway, it was full of stars, but in so many ways, I thought it was a bit lackluster. It didn't really inspire. I've seen so many versions of this on the stage or in the park, which are just absolutely amazing. And so
I can post the one I was listening to on the open forum.
Oh, but by all means, by all means. Okay, I've got a couple of others here. These are just amateur productions of different sorts, I think. But they're often very good. This one, of course, is just full of stars. Okay, this is a painting I found. It was just fascinating, full of things. One of the things this painter decided to do was play around with scale. I mean, it's clear that the fairies, certainly the nobility of the fairies, are much larger than the smaller fairies, but not nearly as large as the humans. And so it mixes them all together. And we have our Puck here. I presume this is Puck, who's enjoying making further confusion out of things.
Is Puck the one that was hiding and listening in on their conversation at one point?
Yes. No, the important thing is here we've got a number of different realms of characters. We've got the humans who are in Athens. They are Athenians, and they are their ruler is Theseus, and we have it's the two pairs of lovers, Lysander and Demetrius, and Helena and Hermia. The thing is, both of the men are in love with Hermia, and poor Helena is in love with one of the men who has decided that he's going to run off with Hermia instead. So that's a simple plot for the Athenians. But we also, at the same time, have another group of players, and those are Oberon, the king of the fairies, and Titania, the queen of the fairies, and a number of other fairies, among them Puck, who is the servant of Oberon and does his bidding and runs around and does some interesting things. And Oberon and Titania are having a falling out. They're not getting along with each other, partly because each one of them has been two-timing the other with Theseus and Hippolyta. Now, who's Hippolyta? Okay, very beginning of the story, Theseus and Hippolyta are going to get married. Hippolyta was the queen of the Amazons. Theseus, interesting noises in the background there. Okay.
Hey, Lorian, your microphone is weird.
Okay.
We can't hear you.
Okay. Jing has joined us, and so we will head on. I'm sorry, Jing, you missed a bit where we discussed writing new words to existing melodies and went through a number of those. We might revisit some of that later on. I introduced Jingson is a math teacher and a former head of a school, and he's joining us just to see how the school works. Okay, we have looked now at the beginning of Midsummer Night's Dream. We've got a number of different types of characters. We've got the Athenians, and we've got the fairies. And fairies have a lot of things going on with them, and it's important there also to understand the language reflects the people who are saying the words. And so we have relatively sophisticated language among the upper classes of Athens, and it mirrors, but does not really approach the level of sophistication that you hear among the fairies. They are, after all, immortals. And now we've got the third batch. And who are the third batch?
Aren't they the actors?
Right, the rustics, as they're often called. And so we know that these rustics are relatively unlettered, but that's not really true. They can read, and they have high aspirations. Certainly Bottom does. And so what are does anybody remember what the rustics do for a living? Their names reflect to some extent their professions, right? We've got Flute, the bellows mender, and Starveling, the tailor, and Bottom, the weaver. Anyway, these are the working classes essentially, and they're trying to put together a play. Does anybody remember what the background of that play is? Why are they doing a play? Yes, Holly.
Basically, it's Pyramus and Thisbe, which is like a similar story to Romeo and Juliet.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I didn't hear it.
The play that the actors are, well, performing is called Pyramus and Thisbe, which is somewhat of a parody, or I guess copy, of Romeo and Juliet. Very
good. It's an existing play that they're trying to put on, but they're putting on a very shortened version of it, it seems. Why are they putting on the play? Do you remember?
For what's it called? Wedding, Theseus and
Hippolyta. Yeah. Excellent. Exactly right. And so presumably, if they actually perform for them and it's enjoyed, they are given a pension for life. So it's a significant goal that they're aiming at here. And so they're putting this play together, but they want to make sure that nobody in town sees what they're doing. So what do they do? Where do they go to rehearse?
In the woods.
In the woods, exactly. And the woods are what it's all about.
That's where everyone comes to.
Exactly. Exactly. We have the same theme really taking place in a couple of other plays. One of my favorites is As You Like It, which again has an instance of the Forest of Arden. And all of our characters go off to the Forest of Arden and they meet in various different combinations, various different ways. We get the same thing happens here in the woods near Athens. We have our Athenians, two of whom decide to run away together, and the other two end up following them. The two running away together, I always have difficulty remembering which is which, Lysander and Demetrius. But I think it's Lysander and Hermia run away together, and Demetrius, who's also in love with Hermia, runs after them, and Helena runs after him. So they're all going off into the forest. And we've got the rustics out there rehearsing, and we've also got the fairies, who for the time being are in the forest. And they have some very interesting characteristics. Oberon, for example, he's quite a sympathetic character in certain ways, although his attitude towards Titania is perhaps one that is less than admirable. But when he sees, for example, this Helena trying to follow Demetrius, who just spurns her and is running away from her, Oberon feels some sympathy there and decides he's going to do something for him. And so what does he end up doing in order to change to inflict his will upon other people? What does he use? Yes, Trevor.
He uses Puck to sprinkle the dust of a broken heart on stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, Oberon tells Puck where to get a particular herb, which will cause the person whose eyes are anointed with it to fall in love with the first live thing he or she sees. Okay, and you can imagine what's going to happen there. In fact, he tells Puck to use it on Titania and do it when she's likely to wake when some vile thing is near. Okay. Anyway, I'll let you folks go on and read more of it, but choose some parts that you'd like to recite in class or read together in class. This method works very nicely, we found, for part reading. Think about that while we go off and follow the agenda a little bit into some other things. And also, I didn't notice anybody posting things in the open forum or the chat room.
I just did. I posted the link to the.
Very good. Thank you very much, Andre. Okay, so we will come back and discuss more of Midsummer Night's Dream. That's our big project right now. And we've already looked at writing lyrics to existing melodies. And I'd like to look more at the specific texts that have been put together. And some of them are so utterly wonderful. Let me take a look, for example, at I think that's a different. Yeah, here we are. I just thought this was so clever. Super damn important that we practice isolation because we're asymptomatic while it's in incubation. Will overwhelm our hospitals if there's not mitigation. Super damn important that we practice isolation. Notice that every syllable's in the right place, and the rhymes this is a bit lame rhyming in a sense that you've got isolation in there twice. That's sort of against the rules, but there's so much in between that you don't notice what has happened there. Anyway, that sort of thing is just wonderful to see when somebody manages to put it together with that level of mastery. And so I've got to follow what this fellow's done, and his ability at the keyboard is fascinating, isn't it? I mean, and it's very much like that of Tom Lehrer. In fact, I'm sure he was highly influenced by Tom Lehrer. Okay, off we go. The Google Ngram viewer, let me just, okay, everybody's there. The Google Ngram viewer, we talked about that a little bit last time. Let's go over and look.
Aren't we supposed to do presentations and
oh
other
yes,
stuff?
I'm sorry. I jumped into other things right away, but indeed, let's start with our presentations. Let's go back to that. Yeah, presentations right up here at the beginning. We ended up jumping into other things. Who's got presentations? Nobody? Oh, okay, Andre. Okay, go ahead. You got to unmute yourself.
I was gonna like recite a short poem that I had memorized.
Excellent.
I forgot who it was by.
Okay, you know how
oh,
to
now I
find
know.
that one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not reading anything. So it's called "Hope is the Thing with Feathers" by Emily Dickinson.
Very good.
One sec. Okay. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the snow and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity asked a crumb from me.
Very nicely done. At the beginning, though, isn't it? Yes, indeed, Holly. Applause is appropriate.
It's been a while. I forgot that I memorized it.
I have one as well, a poem reading.
Excellent. But isn't it a bird that perches in the soul?
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Did I say?
I think you said perches in the snow is what you said.
Oh.
But perches in the soul and sings a song without the words.
Let me look it up.
And never stops at all.
Oh, it is soul. I can try it again later.
It's a bit of a forced rhyme, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
The soul and all. But yes, that's Emily Dickinson. Did a lot of that. Okay, Trevor, you had one? Oh, who else did?
It was me. I had one as well. Aaron?
Oh, all right. I can't see you, so I can't see
sorry, yeah, I don't have my webcam is not plugged into my computer currently.
Okay, by all means, Aaron, the floor is yours.
All right. Alone by Edgar Allan Poe. From childhood's hour I have not been, as others were I have not seen. As others saw, I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken, my sorrow I could have not awakened. My heart to joy at the same tone, and all I have loved, I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of my most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent nor the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form, and when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view.
Very
That's it.
nicely done. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Very good.
Thank you.
There are some other controls that I would like to see functional here, but I don't see them on my screen.
What kind?
Well, one of them is the ability to applaud.
Oh, I think it's a
And
reaction.
Yeah, you could over here.
The bottom
Yeah, I
right,
just
it
did.
says reactions.
No, I'm not talking.
Yeah, I don't think reaction.
In the
well,
Zoom. Oh,
it's not on my screen anyway, but that may be
Okay.
because I'm sharing the screen.
I
But
can do it
there
on
was
the
It's
another
above
one
where the
also.
chat is.
Oh, you found it. Okay.
There's
I
also,
don't
I
even
believe,
see where the
if you
chat
go-
is. Oh well. Okay, breakout rooms. There's chat. Okay, I'm opening up the chat. Okay, so that's nice to see what's going on there. Okay, very good indeed. And Andre, would you mind posting that in the open forum, perhaps, or if you'd like, just put it into the writers forum, just so we can all look at it. What was the name and author again, please?
Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson.
Emily Dickinson. Very good. Let's do that. And Aaron, what was the name and author of yours?
Did you leave?
Aaron, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Would you mind posting the poem that
Okay.
you read and put it into the forum?
Yep.
Either writer's forum or the other one. Very good. What was the name of the poem again?
It was Alone by Edgar Allan Poe.
Alone by Edgar Allan Poe. I don't know it. Very good. Why don't you post it in the
Right.
forum? I've got some other poetry that I want to share with you at some point. Does anybody else have a presentation?
No, I don't think so.
It's so nice to have these recorded. I don't have to sit down and take notes about who did what. I can always come back and look at it. Okay, very good. Presentations, let's look at projects. Okay. Okay, this was the one that, yes, Andre, I see. Is that a sulfur-crested cockatoo?
Cinnamon cockatoos.
Cinnamon cockatoo. I saw something on your shoulder last week, but that wasn't the same bird, was it?
No, it was the same one.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a cinnamon-crested cockatoo.
Whenever.
Would you like me to post in the writers forum?
Yes, the writers forum would be just fine. And I can just give you credit for it in the writers forum. That would work.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this is one that that Lorian presented last week. And you look further at it and you realize it's really quite a brilliant little thing, although it's unstructured poetry. And unstructured poetry is very hard to grade and hard to do much with, because it has to rely entirely on the imagery and the wordplay, and so much wordplay doesn't come up to the level of what many people think poetry ought to. But this one really does. When you look at, unless you leap it, we're talking about leaping here, the chasm that has grown between them. Let's see, where does she create the chasm? The gulf has split the ground between us, and you won't wave, you're looking the other way. We shan't meet again unless you leap it. That is the gulf, the chasm, leaving behind you the cherished worms of your dispassion, your pallid ironies, your jovial, murderous, wry-humored, balanced judgment. Interesting, isn't it? I can see you're appreciating this, Lorian, and I'm so glad you chose it. It's a fascinating thing. Do you have any insights into what it is that she was talking about there?
Wait, now, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank God, man. All right, I just had to leave and then re-enter. Okay, cool. So, yeah, about your question, I think pretty much what I said last time. I don't really have anything further about it.
Okay. Yeah. One of the questions is, obviously, this is an ode to fanaticism. Does everybody agree with me on that one?
Yeah.
The thing is that there's so many things you can be fanatic about. Some of them good, some of them not. And it's worth doing a little bit of research to see what she was thinking about. But do the research and see what where she stood on issues. I think you'll find that it's firmly justified. And she does a nice job of describing it. Thank you again, Lorian, for presenting that one.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and Esther, we've got some haiku here. I also find haiku intensely difficult to say anything about because it's counting syllables, and you've counted your syllables well. But we have some nice imagery here. Write to my friend who's writing back to me. The pencil can write. If you want to dream, place the object next to you, protecting your dreams. This is about a dream catcher, so we know what's going on there. And how swiftly it flows, flowing in the wind at night, blowing its leaves off. Very nicely done. Are you there, Esther?
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Thank you for presenting it. You are welcome, and I apologize for doing it ahead of time. You're welcome to read and present your own material if you would like to. Would you like to at least comment on my poor interpretation of it, or perhaps improve upon it?
I think I should write more about it. It's not clear enough.
You should write more about it?
Like, I should enhance it more.
Very good. I look forward to seeing what you want to do with it. My question here, of course, was, can you try another form? Shall we explore other forms of poetry in class? And I'd like to look at writing poetry. It turns out that I'm going to be teaching a class on writing poetry starting next week. Homeschool Coaches is coming out with a number of classes for homebound students right now. So I'll be doing one on memory and memory devices, and another one on how to turn a phrase, which of course is very much part of what we're doing in here, but also one on how to write poetry. Now, those of you who are interested in writing poetry along the lines of traditional scansion and rhyming verse, that's what I'm going to look at, largely because that is really what appeals to the ear. This material, the unstructured material, doesn't really have that kind of appeal, I think, to the ear, even though those ancient forms of poetry have been largely deprecated and abandoned. We find that still those are the ones that become catchy and viral, perhaps. Viral being a loaded word at the moment. Okay, thank you very much, Esther. Let's go on to the next one here. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to take us. This, Trevor has given us another beginning of a new, are you thinking about this as a new book? You've got to unmute.
I'm writing a new book with my grandma.
Very good. And you're starting with this? Yeah. What did you think of my suggestion that you put it together as a short story and submit it right away?
Well, this one I'm probably not going to, but maybe some of my other ones I'm going to. The other ones that I'm going to submit, though, I'm probably going to submit to Writers of the Future.
Excellent. Now, in response to Trevor's posting here, and this is really nicely written. There's little to say about it. As I say, very apt and perspicacious vaticination of future technology, and I'm sure that all of you looked up any words there that you didn't know. Little suggestions here. It was that I could repair items. I thought that made it a little clearer than you had it before, with the only good thing that came of it was I could repair the items. That helps a little bit. Here, we have to be in past tense. You are saying, I had finished. This is in past perfect tense. Once I had finished repairing all the junk, I disassembled. It has to be in past tense. All the unrepairable is not actually a word, and when it turns out you actually have a word that means that, and it's specifically for the purpose, it's better to use it. So irreparable things. Excellent, nicely done. And so I suggested you might want to submit it to a number of possible publications. Now, here's a list of 9 different publications that are looking for this kind of material: speculative and especially science fiction. And this listing I gave you here, I think I gave you the link to it. Here's the link.
Yeah. Also, another thing is some of those aren't accepting projects right now, and the one of them is closed entirely, like not working anymore.
Thank you very much, Trevor. And good for you for doing the research on that. I appreciate that. One of the things I wanted to say about them, though, is these will work if you're writing a lot of things and you have time to do your submissions, because each one of these comes with guidelines. And if you're ever going to submit anything for publication, you've got to read the guidelines. The guidelines are important. You've got to fit within what they're looking for. And one of the things that's very often in guidelines is no multiple submissions. And another one is, we'll get back to you usually within 30 days or something like that. And the problem is, if every single thing that you submit is going to be locked up for 30 days waiting for a response from one publisher, and you're not allowed to submit it to anybody else, you've got to write a lot, and you've got to figure out how to organize it and have a lot of things sent out at the same time. Different things sent out at the same time to different places, and then cycle them on and send them off to somewhere else when you're done. And there are some software packages for handling that, but it's one of the limiting factors. And when you look at the price that they're paying, 6 cents a word, that's not a lot. Some of these get up to as much as 15 cents a word, or even 20 cents a word. When you think about it, that's a fairly decent price. Now, I know you're thinking of doing books, but trust me, if you get a book out there, that doesn't mean that anybody's going to buy it and that it's ever going to go anywhere. So it's nice to have a few other publications in your under your belt. Go ahead, Andre.
Doesn't Amazon do it for like anyone?
Oh, absolutely. You can publish through Amazon. That's the way your textbook was published. And they will do a certain amount of promotion, and you have to do some promotion as well. So indeed, you can get something published yourself. And self-publishing has some big advantages and disadvantages, which have changed a lot in recent years. One of the problems with self-publishing is you don't have the range of distribution, and you won't necessarily have the markdown that you would have if you go through a normal publisher. In other words, if a bookstore like EIE, for example, wants to stock your book, they'll look and find that they're only getting a 20% discount, whereas most publishers will give 40% discount, and so they won't even stock it. And so that's one of the disadvantages to self-publishing. Also, promotion presumably is going to be different, but the problem, yeah, that's the the problem with promotion is that many publishers expect their authors to do the promotion for them nowadays, and they give the author a kit which explains how to use social media for promoting your book. Now, if the publisher is going to expect the author to do that, in many cases, self-publication is probably just as good, because if you're going to have to do the promotion yourself anyway, you might as well get 75% profit instead of 10% profit, which is the difference between self-publishing and going through an established publisher. There are a lot of other factors involved, and I've learned a great deal of this from my daughter, who's been doing a good deal of publishing through normal commercial channels.
Does Amazon also take care of the copyright? Because I see you have it copyrighted. Do they also do that?
I'm trying to remember exactly how that was done.
I have to do that separate.
Yeah, it's very possible it's separate, but Amazon does take care of the ISBN number for you. I ended up buying a bunch of ISBN numbers and then found that they won't do it unless you use their ISBN number. Well, that's fine.
Very good.
Okay. So anyway, I thought you might like to look at this, and I thought also it might be worth. This is an example of a set of publishers' guidelines, and you go through this and make sure to give them exactly what they want. And that makes the difference. It also really helps immensely to read the kinds of things that they have been publishing. Many of you have already been reading the kind of material that you're writing about. And so note what who the publishers are. And if you enjoy the material you're reading, there's a good chance that what you're writing might be something that fit into their categories. The first 5 things I wrote, I specifically looked at or the first 5 things I published, I specifically looked at what these publishers were publishing, what these magazines were interested in, and everything just went into print right away. Then I started writing about what I was interested in, and it fell off rather sharply. So you've got to tailor your writing to what they're looking for. This manuscript format, also very important, and this is almost universal. Notice that your manuscript is going to have 1-inch top, bottom, left, and right margins. It's using the Courier typeface. It's going to be ragged right with indented paragraphs and 12-point type. Always make sure that that's exactly what your publisher wants first, but that's generally the standard. And if you don't stay within the standard, it's probably nobody's even going to look at it. When it comes to publishing with scholarly journals, that's a bit different. There you also have to take a close look at some of the requirements they have for punctuation, for example. Some of them will specifically say they want an Oxford comma, and others will say they don't want an Oxford comma. Some of them will say never use first person. You don't talk about I and we, and certainly you never use second person. You don't address your reader as you have to do this and then you have to do something else. That's almost universally eschewed. But don't use first person is the case in some of them, but not all. So again, there you have to look at the guidelines. But that's a different kind of writing. It's one that I think you folks would do very well at if you felt like doing it. And trust me, when you're trying to demonstrate your credentials as a homeschooler, who hasn't gone through the normal K-12 system. One of the things that puts you way above the rest of the crowd is to have publications, and especially to have scholarly publications. Your teachers don't have that. And it really would make a big difference. The biggest problem we've had in my class for doing that is most scholarly publications. JUAL is the one that I recommend, the Journal of Unschooling and Alternative Learning. They have a year turnaround. You have to submit things at least a year before they're even accepted for publication. And my students aren't in class that long, but it's one that's worth thinking about, and we'll look at that later. Any questions on this at all? Okay, very good. Here we have Holly. Very nice, very sophisticated and intriguing storytelling. One project, very nicely told. You've given us little snippets from various different places. I don't see Holly out there right now. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've given us little snippets, so it's a little hard to piece it together. And not only that, you've often given us pictures of scenes from a different perspective of a different character in the scenes. And so I'm sure it's all going to tie together beautifully. Is there anything more you want to tell us about this?
I mean, not really, since it is like practically a scene that's somewhat detached from the rest of the events of the first story.
We can see that, but we can also see the flavor of it, which is there's some pretty evil stuff going on, if I interpret it correctly. And here I liked, for example, a grin crawled onto my face. Yes, indeed. Use a verb that's not always used for that. This is something that P.G. Wodehouse, whose work you're currently studying, used a great deal. He would have people trickling into a room and oozing out of it. And you can certainly have a grin crawling onto your face, or perhaps sidling onto your face, or even grimacing onto your face, or something like that. A nice turn of phrase. This one is a very interesting one, and I'm not aware of any official rule that bears on it. You say, sitting among the rubble. Among, of course, as you know, has to be used when you have more than two objects. You can sit between two people. You can sit among a group of people. But still, we're talking about being among count nouns. When we're talking about a mass noun, like rubble, among doesn't work very well. It doesn't work in my ear anyway. You folks tell me what you think. Because sitting among the rubble, no, you can sit among people, you can sit among accountants, you can sit among hamsters, but you're talking about different entities. Rubble is a mass noun. It's sort of like sitting among furniture, sitting among machinery. And I think that amongst sounds better for being in the midst of a number of in the midst of a mass of non-countables. And I think amid also works nicely. How does that sound to your ears? Anyway, I'm sorry?
It makes more sense.
I think it does. It does feel a little better. This next one, the exact same thing, is rather a cliche, and it also seems to me to be a redundant cliche. Once one said it's the same thing, the exact is somewhat tautological, or maybe it just takes it a little bit further. And also, I just think it's sort of a throwaway phrase. Now, I've suggested something. This isn't necessarily much better, but it is identical everywhere, or something like that, just to avoid saying the exact same thing. Nothing big, no big problem with it at all. Just a suggestion. Anybody else have any comments or suggestions here? Very nicely done. We look forward to seeing more of it, and indeed appreciate Trevor's effort here, and thank you for sharing this. Is this a contiguous set of chapters, or are there parts that are missing here?
It's continuous set. That's as much as I've written so far in the Guild of the Dragon.
Very good. Now, my comment here was, this is about 8,000 words.
Yeah.
And most books tend to be around 60,000 to 80,000. It's small paperbacks. I know you've got your plot all figured out. Does it look as though that's the size it's going to end up by the time you get through the whole plot?
I don't know. It might be that long. It might be also, yeah, somewhere around maybe 400 pages or less.
Yeah,
or maybe a little bit more. It depends.
Right. The 400 is more than the 60,000 words. Of course, it depends on your format. Yeah. But yeah, this is nice. I'm so glad you submitted it. It gives you a little concept of what 8,000 words is. And I repeat the rather astounding figure that I've mentioned before. P.G. Wodehouse was famous for producing 8,000 words in a day. I just look at that. How on earth do you do something like that, especially on that level? But thank you very much for sharing this with us. And we look forward to seeing what happens with the rest of it. Any comments on this? I'm sure you folks have all read it. Good for you. Let's go back to our agenda. Okay, just a little revisiting here. This is a tool that is really worth keeping in mind to use when you are looking back on history, for example, and you want to know what would be an appropriate word to use when. One of the things that has always bothered me is the use of a word in writing or film or anywhere that couldn't possibly exist in the period you're writing for. Can you think of examples of that? One that comes to mind, and this happened in a number of Westerns, and it said, let's go out there right away and step on it. Okay, what does step on it mean? Well, this is an automobile idiom. In the age before automobiles, step on it was not being used when you're riding horses around. So that sort of idea pops to mind. This one here that I put together was a combination of 3 unique phrases, and these phrases were, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, moping owl, heaves the turf, and drowsy tinklings. Now, those are fairly unique phrases. You're not likely to encounter them in many places. And notice how the 3 different levels, the blue, the green, and the red, are very similar. They seem to have peaks in pretty much the same places, but not all the way. And all of them trail off into modern usage. Why do you suppose that is?
Does the NGgram viewer, is it only books or is it online too?
No, it's only books as far as I know. It will go through the books in the Google book collection. Now, Google has made a point of snapping up the text of all books, under copyright or not. And there's a big question, and a number of people find that it's probably inappropriate for them to be doing that. But that's the corpus, that's the body of material they're drawing from. So it will include copyrighted material, but for some reason they've decided only to go back to as early as 1800, which doesn't help us a lot with Shakespeare. But these three phrases: moping owl, heaves the turf, drowsy tinklings, where do those come from? No? Save that from yonder ivy-mantled tower, the moping owl does to the moon complain, of such as wandering near her sacred bower molest her ancient solitary reign. That's a hint. Where does that come from? That's something you've studied.
That's the
Poem?
elegy, yeah, in the churchyard, right?
That's right. That's right. All three of these phrases are from the same poem, from the Elegy in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. And it's interesting that although they're similar, the phrases are certainly not identical in history, because I don't expect that they exist in any other work except works that are quoting from the original. I mean, who would ever use the phrase drowsy tinklings or heaves the turf? Beneath those rugged elms, the yew tree's shade, where heaves the turf in many a mouldering heap, each in his narrow cell forever laid, the rude forefathers of the hamlet sleep. Yeah, anyway, it's a tool that is worth having in your arsenal. That's a mixed metaphor, isn't it? It's a tool you want in a toolbox. It's a weapon you want in your arsenal. Okay. Okay, so remember the Ngram viewer. It's a useful one. And let's see. Yeah, here, the Z library. This one is a full text search that will look through entire libraries of books and find the existence of a phrase or word. This isn't quite as useful or as fascinating as the Ngram viewer, because you can make one of these if you want. You can put together a Google search which will search only in Gutenberg texts, for example, or only in the Internet Archive, and put something very similar together for yourself. Those, however, would not include material under copyright, whereas this one will. And so that makes the difference there. Okay. Is anybody up for some of this? It looks like there's some general consensus on this. Anybody have any objection to that? It's my, it was my impression that there was a way to raise one's hand in this class, and I had it working the other day, and I don't know how to do it. I don't see the you've got the thumbs up there, and I know where those are.
Yeah, wait.
I can raise my hand. If you
Okay.
go to participants.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Participants. There it is. Okay, there. That's how we raise our hands. So in order to raise your hands, go to participants, and you see a little blue hand there. And by just clicking that, it puts a hand up on the screen that I'll be able to see. Thus far, I've been able to do it. There you are. Holly's got it. Everybody knows where that is now? Okay. Oh, you've got them all up. Very good. Of course, you can also got the other responses, the applause and so forth. But it's nice to have the hand up. I've been seeing you put your hands up in the picture, so that works fine that way.
You
Very
can
good.
also answer yes or no. Next to where it says raise hand.
That's
You can
right.
answer
That's right.
yes or no.
That's a good one. Shall we try that one? How many of you would like to work with some vocabulary a bit? I see hands going up. Is that what the yes or no does?
No, it's a little check mark if you do yes. I put yes.
You put yes. I didn't see it. Okay, I'm going to have to open the participants again. Oh yes, it's a check mark, and I see that Andre has done the check mark. Very good.
So,
well, thank you. And we're still trying to figure out how this thing works.
We should do a Kahoot. Does everyone have a Kahoot?
Yes, Kahoot.
I had found one. Found one.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, very go.
It's like an SAT.
Sorry, I have returned. Hello.
Okay, I'm going to suggest first that we
convolve.
I'm going to set our difficulty level down to normal then. Okay. We can put it to easier. I don't know.
Nah, normal.
Looks as though it's not going to let me back to the game unless I change it. It won't let me back with the normal one. Okay. Well, this isn't a bad word. Let's start here, and if it's too easy, we'll shunt it up a little bit.
Laziness.
Excellent. Some other words for laziness, please. Anybody got some other words for laziness? How about indolence? How about we've got sloth already.
Slothful.
You have fainéance is another one. Ociosity is another one. These are words that are far more obscure than sloth, but there are so many nice words for laziness. Outlandish.
Bizarre.
Yep.
Very good. Sorority.
Women's Association.
Excellent.
Yep.
Bruh.
Yield.
Yeah, that's an unusual definition for it, I would have thought.
Attractive.
Excellent.
Yep.
Relish.
Enjoy.
Yep. Malice.
Hatred.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
What's the adjectival form of malice?
Malicious.
Malicious. Very good. And what is a malediction?
I don't know.
Malediction is a curse.
Sabotage.
Vigilant.
Watchful.
Excellent.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, why is Holly so fast?
Okay. Pretext.
Guys.
Yeah.
Guys, it's guys.
Yep.
Do you have like faster internet or something?
Embellishment.
Decoration.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kinsman.
Relative.
Yeah.
Relative.
The place means death if any of my kinsmen find thee here. Where does that come from? And the place is death if any of my kinsmen find thee here. No?
Is it Romeo and Juliet?
Absolutely, you got it. It's Juliet warning Romeo. Excellent. Good for you. Now, it's a relative in America. We'd probably find it a relation in English.
Naysayer.
Excellent, Holly. I'm trying to keep up with you. Hindrance.
Obstacle.
Parody.
Spoof.
Doesn't go into this today.
Shuck.
Husk, yeah.
Yeah. Debunk.
Oh, that's
discredit.
Yeah, totally.
Discredit does not mean debunk, but it's the closest one that was up there. Pennant.
Small flag.
A flag.
What?
Sequential.
Detached?
Detached.
Detached.
Yeah.
I think serial is what they're looking for. We're talking seriatim, which is indeed a word that what you would use for a number of items that have been sorted into an order.
Oh.
Neonatal.
Newborn.
Very good.
Neonatal?
Yes.
Decree.
Decree, yeah.
Decree.
Yeah.
Decree.
I got that one.
Your natal day is your birthday. Dastard.
Treacherous coward?
Treacherous
That's
coward.
certainly what they're looking for. Sever.
Divide.
Divide.
Divide, indeed. To sunder is another nice word for that, as Romeo uses when in the tomb. Trying to remember the line, but I will.
You can also sever ties.
Really.
Voluptuous.
Sensual?
Sensual.
That's what they're looking for, yes.
That is
No, I said
Subjoin.
append.
Yeah, I haven't seen subjoin, but it's got to be that. Phlebotomy.
Bloodletting.
Bloodletting?
Good for you. Good for you.
Okay.
Svelte.
Slender. Slander.
Circumvent.
Restrict.
Get around.
Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah.
Get around.
I'll get around.
No, you're right, Holly. Get around. Interfere in a way comes close.
Separate.
Decouple.
Free. Right.
Separate.
Yeah. Separate. Yeah. Separate.
You got it.
Separate.
Okay. Adamant.
Unyielding.
Excellent.
I'm done.
Excellent. Adamant. Insistent.
Oh
Brassy.
Dilapidated.
Restless.
It wouldn't be dilapidated. I think impudent. Yeah, is that what you said, Holly? I think it's got to be.
Yeah.
They're looking at perpetuity.
Forever.
Excellent.
Perpetual.
Yeah, perpetual, exactly. And in perpetuity, that means constantly or forever. And this is what cemeteries tend to say. The graves are funded in perpetuity. Well, that perpetuity only lasts a few generations before everybody's dead who knows who was there. But
You spend your whole life gathering guests for your funeral.
Excellent.
Excellent. Where are we? Yeah. Very good. Superlative. Prognosticate.
Predict.
Predict, indeed. So it's augure would be another one there, or to vaticinate would be another one, or perhaps even to adumbrate. There's so many wonderful words for that in the English language.
I finished the tutoring, and I'm almost done with my paper.
Affective.
I also emailed Mrs. Brokey about
It's specifically something that appeals to the sympathies.
Emotional.
Yes. That's where they're aiming here. Epitome.
Embodiment.
Yeah.
Embodiment. That's a strange definition for it, isn't it? Can you think of a better one?
The exact
Allegory somewhat?
Yeah, that's nicely done. The epitome is something, the absolute closest or absolute highest match. Embodiment. Very good. Schism.
Split.
Got it.
Why is every answer split? There's been
Not
like 3
entire.
now.
Only if you're severing or sundering things.
Next one's kind.
I'm
Kind.
What's that noise?
You
Someone like cups? Oh my god, Andre.
Okay.
Trevor.
Propagation.
Spreading.
Yeah, they're confusing the
Propaganda.
baby there, but indeed, the viruses propagate too, don't they?
Spotted.
Yeah, spotted.
Excellent. Okay, and
Can't even see it.
A motley fool. Where does that come from? Can anybody think? A motley fool.
Isn't that like a podcast?
It could very well be a podcast. Actually,
Motley Fool
Fool
Money.
is a business investment service, but it's named after something. Specifically, there's a motley fool in Shakespeare's As You Like It. Lucent.
Voiceless?
Gross. Or sorry, bright.
It has to be bright. Think translucent. It's showing the light through it. Tureen.
Tuple.
Tuple.
Yeah. Dysphoria.
Depression.
Yeah, the opposite of euphoria.
Excellent, Lorian. Perfect.
Painful?
Short-winged.
Yep.
Short-winged.
Sorry, I had to stop and read them. You get ahead of me here.
Corrupt?
Corrupt.
Uh-oh.
Which one did you say?
Corrupt.
Yeah.
Demolish.
Demolish, yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, shoot.
Well
Pup.
done.
Pup.
Or baby tiger.
You folks are doing
Cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded.
Oh, boy.
Excellent. You can guess from the term there that abominable.
Well
Yeah,
done.
that's easy.
Easy be the lemon squeezy.
Censure.
Reprimand. Reprimand.
Brevity.
Conciseness.
You know, this is sort of unfortunate because there is another word, a less common one, called concision. And it would be a better word, I think, here than conciseness. Equity.
Fairness.
Fairness.
Dang.
Preempt.
Offend.
Offend.
Yeah.
Or displace.
One program preempts another. Cockoid.
Spherical.
Has to be. It's not what I've seen before. Jocose.
Mary?
Mary.
It is indeed Mary. How jocund did he drive his team afield? Jocund, of course, is another word for jocose, and they're cognate to each other. Where does that come from?
Like joy?
But how jocund did he drive his? Did they drive their team afield? That's also from Gray's Elegy.
Yay!
Yes.
And prandial jocundity is a wonderful
Aggression?
phrase. Okay, it's a cavalryman. This prandial jocundity, I just wanted to share that one with you. That's Woodhouse, P.G. Woodhouse, in the Voice of Jeeves, talks about the joy of sitting around after a dinner and enjoying oneself. That's prandial jocundity. Prandial meaning, or postprandial jocundity, after dinner. Cavalryman, indeed, a hussar is a cavalryman in one or another places in history, but I can't remember which one. Perhaps you folks can straighten that out for me. Howdah.
See an elephant.
Excellent.
How does she know that?
Well, if you read my textbook, you'd find it's in there.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Perambulate.
Walk.
Walk, yeah.
It's sort of walkabout.
Dining rod.
Divining rod. Excellent.
Divining
It's
rod.
also the
Oh yeah,
person,
Dowser, duh.
the person who uses the divining rod. Feint. We've seen this one before, I think.
Obscurity? Sorry, wait. no,
Pretense is what they're
yeah.
looking for, and as I said, it's not a great definition. Scary.
Rocky Small Island.
It is indeed. You're so good at this. Okay,
Harsh.
draconian.
Harsh, yeah.
Yes. Now, can you tell me?
Or dragon-like.
Not
Surely,
entirely. Can you tell
There's
me
gotta
where
be
the word comes
dragonian.
from? Do you
a
know?
what?
Do you
Dragon?
understand? Well, no, it doesn't actually. Do you understand the word eponymous?
Nope.
Eponymous means based on the name of an individual. So, in other words, this is eponymous because there was a leader named Draco whose policies were particularly harsh and
Like
gave
Malfoy?
the world that word. Okay, so I'm going to hit the harsh there. Okay, Derek.
Crane.
Yep.
Right.
Torpor. This is another wonderful word. Torpor can actually be a synonym for otiose and faineant, and also sloth-like, indeed, lethargy. Chelonian.
Turtle-like.
It's my guess too. I don't know the word, but certainly what it sounds like. Intercostal.
Between the ribs.
Got to be. Ablution. To perform your
Washing.
ablutions.
Washing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Auspicious.
Oh.
Cornful.
It is indeed favorable, but this is an interesting word, and it's one that's worth looking at. Do you know what an auspex is? An auspex is a fortune teller who tells the future by looking at the movements of birds. And if the birds are saying it's a promising future, then it's an auspicious future. There are a number of other kinds of fortune tellers. There's a haruspex. Does anybody know what that one is? I think we've talked about that before. One who tells the future by examining the entrails of dead animals. Anyway.
Not my camel.
Oh my god.
Allusion.
Hoax.
Indirect reference.
Excellent, Holly.
Oh, yeah,
Indirect
you're
reference.
right. Not illusion.
Illusion would be something else altogether. You allude to a particular source of a text. Timorous.
Careful.
Excellent. Esoteric. That's one that was on our list. Remember? What were the synonyms for esoteric?
Disparaging.
Yeah, arcane.
It's arcane. Exactly. What were the synonyms for esoteric? We had
not used anymore. Kind of.
Well, arcane is not used anymore. Esoteric means obscure, abstruse, right? And even occult would be esoteric, and arcane is one of the ways that something can be esoteric. Purport. This is a very important word.
Cult.
Let's go.
Profess. He purports to be an expert in the field, is the way you might use that word. Diffident.
Can you get out?
Yeah. Inclined.
Right, there's a line in a Gilbert Sullivan operetta. It has no diffidence or shyness. Indeed, it is shy. Did you say shy, Holly?
No, I accidentally said inclined, but.
Okay.
I think this is going over everyone's head now.
Well, we haven't got there yet. We came across a really wonderful word here.
Oh God.
It's a worthwhile word to have handy right now, don't you think?
It is
rubbish.
Oh my God, that's the biggest word ever.
What's an escutcheon?
Reconciliation.
It actually is a shield, but it's more specifically a shield with an emblem on it, which represents your heritage or your family. Enervate. This is an important one.
Oh,
They
yes.
use it.
Energize.
Energize.
Okay, this is an important one. They use it on every SAT because it confuses everybody. And it does confuse everybody. It just confused you.
Innervate.
It's
Enervate.
the opposite of energize. It's to take the energy out of something.
Oh.
At least I believe that's what we've got here. And I was wrong.
Oh.
I'm absolutely wrong. It's my spelling which is wrong. It's a word that sounds like that, but it isn't. I apologize. Okay, bellicose.
Yellowish brown.
Think belligerent.
Warlike.
Very good. I think it's enervate, which is the one I was looking. Yeah. Agitprop. Boy, this is
Political propaganda.
That's my guess. Okay. Docent. It's not really true, but there's one that's closest.
Guesting.
It is a teacher, but it's usually a teacher who's functioning in a specific environment in which more of a tutor or a tour guide. Physic. This is a peculiar one.
Gregorian chant.
No, it actually isn't. Purgative is a type of physic, but it's certainly not a definition for it. Physic would simply mean some sort of a remedy, some sort of a medicine, but it would be a medicine from earlier ages, and it would have been referred to as a physic. A purgative is a particular type that would, for example, cause diarrhea or cause a purging to get something out of the system. What's another word for that? I can't remember. Anyway. Sibilate.
Scorn.
Favorite ground.
Yeah, this is a particular type. A sibilant is that sound that you make with s or sh. Those are sibilant. Okay, mesomorphic, you probably know that one.
Muscular?
Absolutely. So if a person muscular, that's metamorphic. Well, what is a person who's endomorphic?
Skinny.
Lanky.
Fat. Okay. And a person who's ectomorphic?
Skinny.
Skinny and intellectual usually. Conspectus.
Synopsis.
I haven't the foggiest notion.
I agree.
It would have to be synopsis.
Yes.
Okay, Saturnalia.
Pulsation.
I'm sorry?
Pulsation.
No, actually, Saturnalia was a very specific holiday in Rome that took place right around the winter solstice.
I know.
And
Crossing.
yeah, it's obviously here they're regarding Saturnalia as being an example of debauchery, or apparently having acquired that meaning, but it was a specific holiday. Kirtle.
Short.
Yes, and I believe that we may have come across that one before.
Short.
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 You got it, Holly. Cantonment. It would be a camp of soldiers.
Bivouac.
Bivouac. That is, in fact, the yeah. That's the military term for it. Peculation.
Embezzlement.
Embezzlement.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm not sure myself, but when you look at impecunious, which would mean poor, then I think we've got the root of it there that would make sense for it to be embezzlement. Preponderate.
Donald.
To preponderate, it's obviously a verb here. So that would be, if something's preponderant, that would be it's an overwhelming profusion. But in this case, preponderate, I think outweigh is what we're looking for. Hypothesis. We are getting out of, shall we guess at that? I think you're right. Nope, pituitary gland. You know, when we start getting into physiology, we have gone too far. Okay, any questions on this?
Right white sauce, rich white sauce. Rich beef, mountain pass, perfume.
Go to the sauce. Go to the sauce.
Well, we could go on if you feel
sauce. Go Kahoot, guys, Kahoot.
I'm betting at the white sauce.
Guys, Kahoot.
Oh my gosh, we got it right. The right sauce.
Farinaceous. I know what farinaceous means. What is farinaceous?
Mealy?
You're absolutely right. There's a rewriting of.
I can't believe I got that.
Good for you. Well,
I had no idea what it meant.
Okay, farinaceous does in fact mean having to do with grains or meal. And there's a rewriting of the house that Jack built that talks about a farinaceous substance in it. And so, anyway, indeed it is mealy. Lanceolate.
Tapering?
Yeah, it's just a description of a certain shape of leaf. Unavailing. Well, that doesn't look like it should be up here.
Threatening.
I would say futile.
That's futile. Futile.
Belvedere.
Gazebo.
Good for you. Polemic.
Controversy.
Controversy.
Right. Yeah, polemic, it means, an acerbic argument would be a polemic controversy indeed. Baneful.
Injurious? It's
no,
bane.
meddlesome.
Interesting. I think we'll have to be injurious. Now think about Tolkien. What was Durin's bane?
Yeah, the whatever it is, the giant...
whatever it was.
You shall not pass for thing,
Essentially, it's one's downfall is the bane, and so injurious would make sense. Girasol. I'm guessing at Opal too.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
Annul marriage.
I think it's supposed to sound like that. Do you think it is?
The bride. I mean,
I don't know.
It's crushing grapes.
Annul marriage? No, it's to clean a wound. Okay.
Clever.
Okay.
Side dish.
Side dish.
Autrement. Dang, somebody's just dying right now.
Side dish.
Yes, I think you're right.
Side dish.
Yes.
Rapprochement.
They're just doing French words now. Well,
there are an awful lot of French words in English. Rapprochement is a fairly common one. And it does mean reconciliation.
Yes.
Expatiate. That's an important word.
At length.
Discuss.
Good for you, Holly. You got it. You expatiate on a subject. What was that other word we had for expatiate?
Extrapolate?
No, that means something a little bit different. It's hard for me to dig up words quickly. Semite.
Malformation?
It's a silk.
Ew.
Factotum.
Afternoon nap.
Muscular contraction.
We'll get there eventually.
Handyman?
Back
You got
door.
it. Yeah, handyman is the closest to it. It's a person who does general work, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a handyman. It could be a secretary or anything else. Parhelion.
Fireworks?
I don't know. I think it's, I don't know what a sundog is, but that's my guess. Anybody else?
Oh, a sundog. A sundog is it happens in Alaska, or I forgot where, but it happens when the sun is setting. It makes it seem like there's 3 of them, and it kind of looks like a dog's face.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
It's something
Andre.
to do with the atmosphere, I think.
Yeah. No. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
a
and
video on one.
some of these words are not at all obscure.
Lizard.
They're just not used in this country very much. Goanna is one
Lizard.
particularly.
Lizard.
It is indeed a
type of
lizard.
lizard.
Where does this lizard live?
I forgot.
If you listen to the accent, it's a goanna.
Australia.
It's an Aussie word. Australian lizard. Okay, maunder, a very good word, one worth knowing. To witter is another nice word for to maunder.
Team.
And this is a very poor definition of it, to mutter. To maunder tends to mean to babble senselessly about things. Pilot. I don't know what that is.
A maniac?
Toddler?
My guess is a spangle. What shall we try?
Just spangle.
Yeah.
Hey.
Bascule.
Counterbalance structure.
I like that idea. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bemire.
Worsen.
Yeah. That's the closest. I'm absolutely wrong. Bemire, when you think about it,
mire.
Getting something dirty is to put it into a mire, into a bog, is what we're talking about. Okay. Have we exhausted our interest in working in the stratosphere here?
Yeah, let's do Kahoot.
Kahoot!
Do you have a Kahoot?
Yes,
yeah,
we do.
I had found one. I didn't make it, but
okay. Well, is that one that you can put into the chat room?
Yes.
Go, go, go.
Yeah.
Ocean Man voice crack.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, do I have to go into?
Why are you stealing my lines?
No, I'm logging in to Kahoot.
Mojo, why are you stealing my lines?
Is it Kahoot.it?
It's good though.
What's the game pin?
What is the game pin?
Yes, do you have?
I have to say it in an Australian accent.
Oh,
What's
God.
the game pin?
What's the game pin, mate?
What's the game pin?
Yes. My grandma was Australian, so I know what that's
God.
like.
Dang, that was pretty good. Oh my gosh.
What's the game pin?
Okay, I found it.
What's the game pin? Oh no, that's
It's-
English. Sorry.
It's 25
Southern
questions.
But just
I wonder
type
if I
it
could do
in.
that in a southern accent.
It's called it's just called SAT vocabulary.
That sounds good. Why don't you type in the game pin in the chat room?
What is the game plan?
It's the game pin.
Yeah, but do you want to put it up on your screen so we can all see it?
What's the game pin?
If
What's
you
the game pin?
can't everybody see the chat
Hey,
room?
what is the game
Yep.
plan?
Well, no. Well, do you mean the chat room in Zoom or?
The chat room in Zoom.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Oh,
what?
So
Where'd you
you want
send
me
it?
to? You want me? Okay, you want me to just start it? I can
Yeah,
start it
just
again.
type in the.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah. You can even screen share. You can screen share your screen.
Oh,
And
on
have-
my phone.
yeah, that might be the best
Can you see my
I
chat
can.
room?
I cannot see on your phone, Andre.
Andre, just type it in the chat room there.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you all see my chat room dialog box on the screen?
No.
Okay. In that case, I'd have to go to a screen where I could type it in.
No,
Let's
I can
Okay.
see it though. I can see it on the Zoom chat room.
I'm typing
So-
the game pin.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead and type it in.
It's 827. I'm typing it.
I summons the game pin.
No, I accidentally said privately.
No.
To who?
I don't see it.
Only Trevor gets it.
What?
Wait.
Is this man biased?
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, there.
No, it's 5.
Why is it not appearing there?
Do you guys see it? Does everyone see it?
I don't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm
There it
ready.
is. I'm sorry.
My headphones died.
I'm in. Wait, where's the screen?
I can't see the screen. You guys have a screen share.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh, I've got to get into that screen, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me do that.
Do I not have it? Oh, I guess I can play.
Wait. Oh wait. I think we need to like.
Show the host screen.
I can try doing that, I guess.
Is it on your phone or your computer?
No, I can put on my phone too. I'll just do both. I'll join as like another person. How do you screen share from your phone?
Lauren, what happened?
I have just signed in on the screen.
Yeah, I'll screen share mine so you can see the questions and stuff.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to stop screen
Are you okay,
sharing mine.
Lojo?
Okay. What's the Zoom ID again? Does anyone have
Okay,
the Zoom
the Zoom
ID?
ID is
Just-
827-1372.
827-1372.
Excellent.
Apparently that's not it, or it's too short.
827-1372.
I'll look in the email.
Or, no, wait, no. The Zoom meeting ID. Did you try talking about the Zoom meeting ID?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's different from the Kahoot.
Wait. Yeah. Oh wait.
What's going on?
Wait.
What's happening?
No!
I'll just look
What's
in my email.
happening?
No!
Every bad guy before he loses.
No, I got out!
Oh
Stay
no.
with me.
What's the game?
Wait. I think Dennis needs
I
to.
found it. I found
Oh,
it.
you did?
I think I found it.
What is the new game pin?
Oh, there's no new game pin. Wait.
What?
Oh, okay. I'll make a new one.
Then what was
Wait.
the old game pin?
Oh my.
Are you creating a new one?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay,
you got to
so-
give us that one then.
Now there's two
Andres,
on.
here's
Wait a
purple.
second. There's two Andres on it.
Okay, one of them's gonna be me, and one is gonna be the Kahoot.
Okay.
But you can just click share screen.
Yeah, where do I do that?
Just on the bottom of your screen.
It
There's a
just
share screen button
says-
that's green. Just click that and it'll let you share screen.
No, it just says, oh. Oh, okay.
It should let you share your computer
Do
screen.
you see it?
Not yet.
All right. You see?
Audrey, do you want me to just do it?
I don't see anything.
Hey,
Well,
you know,
no, I
Dennis
got
could-
it. It should be
that-
showing.
Dennis could just do it on his. You know?
I know how to set it up. I can just do it for you guys if you want.
All right. It should be recording. Go. You see it?
No.
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 Really?
Really?
No, I want this to work. This must work.
Really?
Can anyone
Did you
guess what
guys?
that's
Are you
from?
in the? Are you in the Kahoot?
No.
Kahoot.
No.
I'm waiting for the game pin.
Green.
What's the new game pin?
Zoom.
What's the
Start.
game pin?
What is the same pin?
What's the game pin, mate?
That should
The
totally be
game pin is it's 827.
Wait.
7?
827.
Uh-huh.
1372.
Oh, the same one.
That's the same one as we had before.
All right,
Okay,
I'm
fine.
back here.
Work. Okay.
What?
Should I start it?
Taken. What?
Taken?
What
Oh,
happened
from
then?
the last time? What?
Fine.
Just make new ones.
All right. I'm in, but
I can't
Andre,
log
screen
in
share.
because I'm already
I
logged
can't
in.
see anyone else.
I can't see anybody.
Yeah, Andrew's on screen share. That's why.
I am screen share. What
I don't
is
see your
this?
screen.
Look. Wait. So you guys
Hit
see
the
my
green button.
screen? I hit share content, and then I press screen
On what? On Zoom?
Oh no, something's happening.
on Zoom.
No, do it on
On
do it on your
Zoom.
laptop,
Yeah, on
Andre.
Zoom.
On your laptop. Because you're calling on your laptop. You're not calling on your phone. Right?
No, I have both screen.
I got a message saying we couldn't get you into the game. Try again.
Yeah, that's what mine's doing. Mine's saying.
I'm
please
saying
wait.
please
I got kicked out
wait.
again.
You know what? Hey, Dennis. Maybe if you can find it on your
Yeah,
thing,
maybe if you can find it there.
Okay.
So
I'll
and
see what
Andre,
I can do.
send the info to Dennis. So
Yeah.
he can
Well,
do
you
it.
just look up SAT vocabulary, and it's the first one.
Got it.
Oh.
Why won't it let me screen share? That's weird.
I don't know. Maybe because it's a the iPhone.
Okay, I'm going to start sharing my screen again.
It won't let me do
I
it on
don't
my
know how.
iPad either.
I don't have anything up here.
Oh my!
Oh, shit.
I figured. I think I figured
disconnected.
it
I gotta go,
out.
guys.
Okay.
I gotta go.
I didn't. I see, bro.
Oh,
Hi.
there we are.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen.
Got it. So we need you to host it.
How do I do that?
Does anyone know how to go into Kahoot?
Who?
I'm having trouble getting in.
Hold up.
It's like because you don't want to do the game pin. You want to host the thing.
Right. But I don't see anything out there that allows me to do that.
I can't get in.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm gonna try it one more time. Can you turn screen share off just for a little?
There's two Andres.
Yeah, I think it might work this time. But Mr. Teacher has to turn off screen share.
Well, we could do multiple screen shares, I believe.
It's saying I can't because you are.
Oh, okay. In that case, I've got it turned off. I can stop screen sharing if that will work.
Yeah, that
I'll
probably
stop
will.
screen share right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, it's all
Andre,
yours.
you have like 2 speakers going on right now, so it's like.
Okay.
Okay,
Yay.
here we are. Screen
Yay!
recording.
I can't get in though.
Oh yeah, neither can I.
Get in the coop.
The Kahoot is.
I mean, I have the pin and it's on the nickname page. I just can't get in.
What's the gang pen?
So I got disconnected.
Yeah.
Just create a new Kahoot though. Maybe.
Do you see it?
Oh wait, but then I just went out of it.
Yeah, they keep
We
kicking
need
me
to.
out.
I'll restart it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Play host.
What is a new game pin?
Why do I have 2 microphones?
Classic.
I'll just.
Classic or team up?
Classic.
All right, Dan.
Okay.
Game pen. Okay.
All right, there's the game pin.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Bam. Oh my. Did you get that from Casey Neistat?
No.
What is BAM?
You don't want to know.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Casey Neistat made that up.
Okay, are we all in?
Not yet, I don't think. Esther is not. Sorry,
I
Esther's
don't
not
see
in.
Esther.
That's fine.
Is everything all right, Esther?
There we go.
Perfect.
Who's DT? Oh, Dennis Tinchon. Oh, never mind.
Dennis.
Uh oh, Dennis is on.
All right. Can I
He's
start
trying to cream us all.
Can I start it?
All right,
Yes,
you
start
know,
it.
the battle's on. Let's go.
25
Let's do it.
questions.
Perspicacity.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Ah, I got it wrong. Ugh. 5th place. Why? I blinked a little.
Oh, Dennis
Oh my
Tinchon now.
God.
Camel.
The wars begin. Camel, why?
Oh yeah.
Classroom perfection?
Yes.
I'm on the podium, finally!
So there's some silence from Lojo and
Yes! Dethroned!
Dennis. Oh my gosh, 300 points ahead. No, more than 300 points. Okay.
Apathy.
Why does it say the answer?
Sorry.
Well, thanks for the answer.
Mongolian.
Wait, who's MF?
It's me.
Oh.
Oh.
Why would you call yourself that?
Because.
Hey, my name's Camel. Thank you very much. So.
Oh my gosh.
All
Next.
right. So.
Camel.
Camel. Let's go.
Is there any way like you could like expand the thing? Because I'm having trouble seeing the
No, that's
parts.
that's just my phone.
Oh, dang it.
I'll
Yeah.
just like scroll up and down.
Yeah, I can't really. Oh well.
That was easy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm.
Yes.
Oh man.
Wait, what? What's going on?
Camel!
Oh, he
Camel!
just throws him!
The
Oh my
camel!
god!
The camel!
I am coming for you, camel! I'm coming for you, camel! Mark my words.
Oh, I cannot see this at all. But
Oh, these are easy.
Yeah!
let's go, guys. I am 3,245 points behind DT. Let's get
Camel! The
Yeah.
camel!
Bam fist coming.
Likely to change.
Come on!
Hmm.
Why is it lagging?
Dang it.
Dang it! It didn't take my answer.
I got it wrong.
Dang it.
Ooh. Third.
No!
Dennis!
Oh, I'm sucking.
No! I'm coming! Why is my internet to be so slow?
Oh, let's go. I got this one.
Mm.
I got
Oh,
this one.
restarts.
Yes, sir.
My internet's not working. It's giving me nerves.
The camel!
Oh my gosh, Trevor.
The camel!
The camel?
The camel!
Good for you.
Thank you.
There we go. Yes.
Yes, I got right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
The camel!
Okay, Trevor, we know you're winning, okay?
Oh, I found my head.
Come on, baby. Dang it. Oh, this actually sucks.
It seems not to be listening to my button pushing.
Ooh, Dennis Tischenow. Dennis.
Somebody in third place.
Oh, sorry. Can I be heard? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's that? Wait. Shit, I didn't see that. Nope.
Oh. Ooh, the camel.
Dang.
This is a very quiet Kahoot. Ooh, catching up.
Sorry about that, guys. I didn't know what happened.
You're back online. Good.
Andre.
And now I think I'm a little bit behind.
Mine keeps saying I'm time's up, and yet I pushed a button. It's not listening to my buttons.
Something's lagging on mine, either my phone or my computer.
I just can't see the works
How am
clearly.
I
So
still in third
I wasn't
place?
gonna win this anyway.
There we go. Now I think we're back on track.
What is this?
I hope I'm back. Yes. The camel.
The camel.
Camel.
The one and only camel.
Wow.
What?
Oh wow.
I was
All of
obtuse.
them got voted on.
It was pretty bad thing. Pretty bad thing.
Pretty bad thing.
Yep.
Pretty bad thing.
Hey, what was the thing?
There we go.
It shows on top.
No. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I just
By
guessed.
far, the toughest Kahoot game I've ever played.
Who gets noxious? Noxious.
Yeah!
Oh. Please.
Dennis.
Uh-oh.
Dethroned.
You guys all have high ping. Ping.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, I finally got something right.
I mean, they both could be. How? How?
I'm 10,000 more than anyone. Almost.
Rematch.
God.
When we're done with this rematch. Oh, no.
Oh, man, I got stuff right.
I remembered too quickly.
Wow. That's
He's 11,000 points ahead of the second place person.
Good for you.
Thank you.
My gosh, Trevor, take it easy on somebody.
Come
Wow,
on.
he zooms in. Wow.
Really?
Disrespect.
Really?
That is
That
disrespect.
is zooming.
Ouch.
Okay.
Whatever, I'm coming.
Ugh.
I'm
There's
gonna
like-
make a comeback.
Screen.
There's like 3
There's so much
left.
I've never seen. Oh my god! Thanks for rubbing our
Why?
Well, thanks for rubbing in our faces.
I can't believe that.
Oh no.
I have a 9 streak answer. I have a 9 answers.
Dang. I have 1 answer streak. Oh. Okay.
Now I'm
Andre.
gonna sound like a camel.
You just gotta get over with this game so they can stop zooming in.
Okay. Andre, you don't need to rub it in.
Andre,
I'm trying to be humble here. And you're just...
Andre!
Oh really?
Andre! Dude!
Wait. Oh, is he gonna do it again?
Andre, I swear, don't you dare!
Okay.
Don't you dare! I'm coming!
Okay.
Yeah, I just can't, like, I don't know.
Is that it? I think that's it.
No, we have 3 more.
We have 3 more.
Yeah.
Oh.
To the fame.
Calumnious would be a good word.
It's
Calumnious.
vilify?
Yes.
Vilify? What?
How and why, camel?
Oh, you got 2 chances to get what? 10,000. Who gets vilify again?
No, someone gets quirk.
Oh. No, someone else gets vilify. 13 in a row?
God.
What?
Rematch after this. Only 2 has got that right?
Okay. 3rd place.
Hey!
Chanel. 2nd place. Unnamed.
Andre, why?
That's messed up. That is the highest level of
Andre.
disrespect. That is sick.
29,000? How?
That's crazy.
How and why?
He's Mount Everest, folks. He's climbing Mount Everest.
I'm climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
I don't know if I can. I don't even know if I can play this time. I can't even see.
Who is BAMF? Is that you, Holly?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And why did you spell it that way, Trevor?
I don't know, because I did.
Okay. Very good. I don't know why things stop working in the middle. Well, that's fine. I think that's wonderful. You two have earned something for that. What do you feel like going on to next?
Rematch.
We have run out of time, but that doesn't mean that we're out of time.
All right, come on, one more game. Let's get it.
Rematch.
Rematch. That was a very humbling experience.
Okay, can you
Too
make
much
it
red.
more challenging, perhaps?
I don't know what to like write. Like, I don't know which one to do.
I think I might just like sit back on this one.
Dude.
I guess we can just try this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Camel's retiring early.
Aw.
Wait, Trevor, you out?
No. I'm still going in, but I'm gonna take it easy. I gotta let someone else win.
Any
hope?
hope?
No. Go big or go home.
No. We want 100% Trevor, man.
Home, Camel.
We bring it back, man. But this time,
Go big or go home.
Okay. Since
Don't
there's
be
so
scared
much,
to be
I was handicapped.
dethroned.
I was handicapped, so now I'm gonna dethrone you.
Do we need a new number for this one, or is it just?
I think there is a new number. I don't know why it's taking so long.
Yeah, there will be.
I think because everyone's on the internet right now.
Oh, come on.
Everyone.
What's the game pin?
What is the game pin?
What's the game pin?
What?
What's the game pin? I need the game pin.
We all need the game pin.
Yes.
Classic.
I don't know how to put it in.
Classic.
And
the game pin is drum roll, please.
Classic.
Classic.
Do you see it?
Yes, we can.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
There we go.
I can't.
Because there. Never mind.
My device has gone peculiar. I can't seem to put it in.
6. Get it.
Let's go. Let's go. First one in. I be humble. Who's that? Peter. Okay. You spelled camel wrong. You spelled
Oh,
camel.
I see you in Mr. Tichenal.
Okay, I finally found myself.
Okay,
Who's
and
Ty?
Who's I be humble?
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yes.
Can we start?
wait, has everyone gone in?
Oh, Andre, are you out there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm not playing. I'm just.
Esther, are you in?
I'm hosting.
Yeah.
So you in? All right.
Can I start? Yes or no?
Is everybody in? Is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Ready?
All right, should
Ready
I?
to go.
Let's do it.
Just
All
do
right.
it.
So who's all the names? Who's Ty?
Me.
Okay, and then. Okay, ready.
Oh,
set.
we have another
Ding
person
is
in.
in. Okay, good.
Oh my god. All right, this is gonna be fun. You're all going down.
I can barely see anything.
Oh what? Ah, shit! I put the wrong thing. Dang it. Oh wait, I got it right. Okay.
I'm on the podium.
I'll take it.
I'm 3 points behind you, Holly.
Let's go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm
Beater
10
of
points behind you,
camel. That's how we do it.
Beater of camel.
Cantankerous? What is that?
Cantankerous.
Cantankerous.
Let's go.
Oh, of course.
2 in a row.
Oh, the pictures give it
2 in
away.
a row.
The beater of camel has gone down.
Annika is on the rise.
Who's Anika?
I am.
Oh. Who's
No,
Beater of
Anika.
Camel?
That'll be me.
Uh-oh.
Good for you, Holly.
The raid has begun.
Or is Trevor going too easy?
Oh, wait. Sorry, I got it wrong.
Dang it! Ah! Ugh.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wrong one.
Let's go.
Did it too quickly. Got too excited.
Ooh.
Dang it, my lead.
Yay!
What am I doing? Ugh.
And I'm struggling right now. Okay.
Dang it.
Ooh!
Come on. Come on.
There we go. There we go. I'm gonna get back into it.
Take it from the picture.
Yes, the pictures help.
What?
They actually do.
They help too much.
They're giving the answers away. Yes, I'm back in it.
I'm gonna... do I try... What is it doing?
Is everything all right?
Uh-huh. That's not what they wanted.
Ooh.
I hate when
Okay,
there's
come
none
on.
of them. None of the above.
Oh, I got it right. Yes.
Come on, baby. We climb back to that podium. Let's get it.
Yeah. I'm on your trail, Dennis.
Good luck.
Oh no. That's the wrong one.
I don't even know.
These are harder. A lot
These are
harder.
harder.
Except the pictures suck.
Oh no. I think I clicked on the wrong one. Oh, I got it right.
Yes.
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 Whew. I was worried there for a second.
Dang, whoever's Jing, I'm
Coming.
coming for you.
I am coming.
Gregors. Oh. Come on, come on, come on.
Dang it!
Yes! 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 380. 380. We cutting it down. Let's go.
All right.
Wait, did
Oh, wait,
Trevor
I'm
drop
not even
out?
Fire.
I don't.
Did you
I'm
drop
not even
out?
on the thing. I'm not even
Not on the
on.
podium.
What?
I'm not even on the thing now.
Is it a glitch?
Oh.
Easy.
I know this one.
Hiatus.
Okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Are we really gonna cheat now? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't like my answer.
I'm coming for you, Dennis.
Come on, man. 4 in a
Yeah,
row.
no.
Trevor,
No, I
Trevor would
pushed the
have
button and it didn't listen to me.
I think I was just like, I wasted all of my
This is
energy
mine.
on
This
that
is
one
mine.
thing.
This is mine.
Well, you should at least be on it. It's
No!
like
No!
you
No!
disconnected.
No!
Come on.
No! No!
Uh-oh, is she messed up?
No! It froze!
Yes! Yes, I'm back on that podium, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back.
Let's get it.
Hey.
Yay!
No!
Yes.
That was mine!
Okay.
Oh, crap. Just when I went in, I had to restart it.
Come on.
I'm coming back for y'all.
Six,
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
5, 4, 3, 2,
2,
1. Zip.
Yes!
Yes! Man, I'm feeling right now. Let's go.
Beater of camel.
Let's get it.
Oh my god, he actually
Come on.
did it.
I'm going to win this.
To be
Oh, no,
caught
dang it.
leaning.
Oh, wrong one.
To be caught leaning.
Why are you?
What?
To be caught leaning.
Dang it. Dang it, wrong one.
Are you?
Too fast.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
7 in a row.
Wow, Lorian.
What
7
in
in
the
a
green
row.
blue cheese?
I'd be humble. I used up all my brain power. I was like,
Trevor's
I'm
going
win
easy
this.
Rushing.
this round. Wow, this is easy.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
A person with no fashion sense.
Yeah, it's obvious to that one, guys.
What you doing?
Andre, what are you doing? Yes. Oh, I'm back, babies! I'm back!
You ain't going to win, Holly. I'm sorry.
We'll see about that.
An ad placed for marriage.
What?
An ad placed for marriage.
What is that?
Yeah, marry me today! At a cost of
Mary
$500.
ad.
Oh, I get
Honey.
it.
Honey.
Mmm.
I'm
Count it
on
up,
my
count
way.
it out.
Wait a second. This is not right. Look at Annika. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Come on. Oh.
This is mine.
Come on.
Yes.
Person with many sisters.
A shameless person.
Uh-huh. Shameless persons.
Yeet.
No.
10. 10 in a row.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
It's over.
No, it's not.
Ooh.
Oh, it better have been that one. No. Come on. I picked
Two people. Who are those two people? Why is that there one person that never answers?
Yeet.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
on my way.
Again, it didn't listen to me.
Aw.
I have a one answer streak.
I don't know. Wait, 11 correct answers. How?
You gotta get 4,000 points in 2 tries.
It's
to beat.
over.
Oh, yeah?
Peter of Camel.
I still believe.
It's all over, Holly. It's all over.
I still believe.
It's all over.
I still believe.
I'm in 4th place.
Oh, dang it.
Didn't take mine.
Verbose.
This is mine.
Throwing
up in the trash can.
Blah, 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 blah,
Throwing
blah.
up in the trash can in front of people.
It has to be that one.
Has to be, guys.
These are hard.
I finished what with 13 in a row?
I think
Dang.
you got that one.
Dang it, so close.
Nice job.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Run it up. Run it up.
How?
Hey!
Blue cheese.
Let's go.
How? I know I'm
Congratulations. Congratulations.
All
right.
Cameron, I won.
Yay!
Very good, everyone. Very good, everyone.
Sir.
The camel played it lax.
Jing, do you have any comments to make? Any suggestions? Any thoughts?
More him.
Dennis, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great, great. I think it's a great class. You know, I really enjoy it, and learning the different from thing of English. You know, I really learn a lot from this one, and I love to play games with you guys. You know, that's great SAT vocabulary, the games. Yeah.
We did more vocabulary this time than we've done in a long time, but it just follows what people are interested in to a large extent. Thank you very much for your comments. Do you have any suggestions on things you think would work better?
You know, this is my first time, and I'm not sure about the structure, the whole structure of the class, and I was expecting to. You know, go over more about the reading materials, more discussions, and that's just my expectation, you know. But I'm not sure how you structure the class, you know, and probably maybe people spend a lot of time, you know, reading and thinking by themselves, and here just like give a little bit more highlights, yeah.
Right. Yeah, one of the things I try to do is not do things in class that they can do at home, because class is reserved for things that we have to do together with interaction, and let them do their reading and so forth in the classroom the rest of the week. But indeed, we go through the agenda usually, but if something comes up of greater interest, and indeed in this case everybody seemed more interested in playing the games, we go off that direction.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
And we have run over quite a bit here, but do you folks have other commitments that you have to get to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Lauren and I have moved our class to another day of the week, so I'm willing to do more if you folks are interested. You're under no obligation to do so, of course, but we could do some reading from Midsummer Night's Dream if you felt like it. There's some nice parts in there for both male and females.
I have to get going right now.
Okay, understood, Lauren.
But see you guys later.
Thanks for joining us. That was lots of fun.
Just remember, Treble. Camels don't win, man. Camels.
Treble?
I'm out.
Okay.
Looks like Andre is just a wall now.
How do the rest of you? Is there anything specific you would like to do quickly before we pack up, or specific requests?
You mean like reading wise?
Reading wise, or anything else that we tend to do in the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, if we read, it's fine. I just don't have anything to read off of. I don't have the book.
Well, we can do a screen share here and go straight into Midsummer Night's Dream, which is right here. Okay, is everybody else here still, or is it just you, Andre?
Okay.
Oh, everybody's there. I just don't see. There we are. Okay, we could jump into this. One of the things I asked you folks to do was to choose sections that we could read from that do you think would be appropriate and compelling. Does anybody have any specific parts of the play that you'd like to look at?
The part when Tatina, forgot the name. Tanita.
I'm not sure whom you're talking about.
The girl.
Okay, there's Hermia and Helena and Titania.
Was it Titania that got the potion?
Titania is the queen of the fairies, and indeed she is the victim of the potion at one point.
Yeah, the part when she wakes up and when the actor is there is pretty good.
Okay, the one where she wakes up and sees Bottom,
yeah,
the weaver, whom
he's just
Puck has fitted with the head of an ass. Okay, let's see if we can find that part. I'm trying to think of. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a phrase that is used in the play at that point, so that I can.
Or that's just one of the parts. We can do any part. That's just one of the parts I remember.
No, indeed, no. That's why I asked you to think of favorite parts. I'd like to find that one. I know one of the things we can look for. Okay, here we are. This is where she wakes up. Okay, Bottom is singing. Do you remember why Bottom is singing? He's been abandoned. All the rest of his company have abandoned him because they see that he's wearing this. He's become a donkey, and so they are absolutely frighted, and they go dashing off into the distance. And so to keep his spirits up and to show them that he's not afraid, he starts singing, and this is his song. But the song, of course, wakens Titania, who is lying there in the forest. And who would like to be Titania? Do we have a Titania? Esther, do you feel like doing a Titania?
Okay.
Okay, and we need a Bottom. We have one of those. Trevor, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, and then whatever else we'll just improvise when the other characters come in. Okay, and Titania wakes up and says,
I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. My ear is much enamored of thy note. So is my eye enthralled to thy shape, and thy virtues force doth move me. On the first view to say, to swear I love thee.
Dennis, could you go forward a little bit?
We could, but I was. Can you read it?
Barely.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can't. And
you can zoom in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Was
no, like Trevor on your screen.
Oh, really? No, I can't.
Hit Command plus.
Command plus. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is that big enough?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, so you did a beautiful job of the Titania. Let's just look at that section a little bit. I pray thee, gentle mortal, sing again. Mine ear is much enamored of thy note. Notice that the word enamored uses an of. This collocation is important. In more modern usage, one would say enamored with, but I like the enamored of. And in fact, Shakespeare uses it a couple of times. So is mine eye enthralled by thy shape, captivated, imprisoned by thy shape, enthralled, and thy fair virtues force perforce doth move me on the first view to say, I swear I love thee. So, beauty, love at first sight. Can we start here, Trevor? Is that all right?
Yeah. Okay, one second. Methinks, mistress, you have little reason for that, and yet, to say the truth, reason and love keep little company together nowadays. The more pity that some honest neighbors will not make them friends. Nay, I can gleek upon occasion.
Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful.
Not so, neither. But if I had wit enough to get out of this wood, I'd have enough to serve mine own turn.
Out of this wood do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here whether thou will or no. I am a spirit of no common rate. The summer still doth tend upon my state, and I do love thee, therefore go with me. I'll go thee fairies to attend on thee, and they shall fetch thee jewels from the deep, and sing while thou on pressed flowers dost sleep. And I will purge thy mortal grossness so that thou shalt like an airy spirit go. Peace blossom, cobweb, moth, and mustard seed.
Nicely done.
Okay, we need a...
Okay, we got a bunch of fairies coming into the story here. Let's look at this. Basically, Titania, she is the queen of the fairies. She's a powerful entity, a powerful individual. And when Bottom says he wants to find his way out of the wood, she says, out of this wood do not desire to go. Thou shalt remain here, whether thou wilt. He's a captive. He's held here. But she says, I'll have fairies wait on thee and fetch thee jewels from the deep. Okay, so we have our 4 fairies appearing, and those fairies pop into life.
Peas blossom.
And I. Where shall we go? Titania.
Be kind and courteous to this gentleman. Hop in his walks and gambol in his eyes.
Very good.
Feed him with apricots and dewberries, with purple grapes, green figs, and mulberries. The honey bags steal from the humblebees, and for night tapers crop their waxen dyes, and light them at the furry glowworm's eyes. To have my love to bed and to arise, and pluck the wings from painted butterflies, to fan the moonbeams from his sleeping eyes. Nod to him, elves, and do him courtesies.
Hail, mortal. Hail, hail, hail. Bottom.
I cry your worship's mercy heartily. I beseech your worship's name.
Cobweb.
I shall desire you of more acquaintance, good Master Cobweb. If I cut my finger, I shall make bold with you. Your name, honest gentleman?
Okay, cobwebs, of course, in the days before Band-Aids, you used a cobweb to, yeah. Okay, Peace Blossom.
I pray you, command me to Mistress Squash, your mother, and to Master Peace God, your father, good Master Peace Blossom. I shall beseech you more acquaintance to. Your name, I beseech you, sir?
Somebody?
Who's going to be Mustard Seed?
Mustard Seed.
Good Master Mustard Seed, I know your patience well. That same cowardly giant like ox beef hath devoured many a gentleman of your house. I promise you, your kindred had made my eyes water ere now. I desire your more acquaintance, good Master Mustard Seed.
Come, wait upon him, lead him to my bower. The moon, methinks, looks with a watery eye, and when she weeps, weeps every little flower, lamenting some enforced chastity. Tie up my love's tongue, bring him silently.
Okay, she's not going to let him sit there and babble. So she's tie up his tongue and bring him silently. And of course, in so many of the versions on the screen or on the stage, we have at this point Bottom bellowing with a donkey-like that sort of thing. And so they say, tie the tongue up and bring him silently. Okay. And enter Oberon. Shall we do this part here? Have we, Andre, would you like to be an Oberon? And
someone should be Puck.
Who wants to be Puck?
I sacrifice myself.
Okay. That makes perfect sense, Holly. Okay. Oberon.
I wonder. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just introducing you.
I wonder if Titania be a weight. Then, what it is was the next. Oh wait, I have to zoom in. What it was that the next came in her eye, which you must dote on the extremity. Interpar. Oh. Here comes my messenger. How now, mad spirit? What night rule now about this haunted grove?
A mistress with the monster is in love. Near to her, close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus' nuptial day. The shallowest thick skin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sport, forsook his seed and entered in a break. When I did him at this advantage take, an ass's knoll I fixed on his head. Anon his Thisbe must be answered, and forth my mimic comes, when they him spy, as wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet-pated chose, many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky, so at his sight away his fellows fly, and at our stamp here aware and aware one falls, he murder cries, and help from Athens calls. Their sense thus weak, lost with their fears, the strong, made senseless things begin to do them wrong, for briars and thorns at their apparel snatch. Some sleeves, some hats, from yielders all things catch. I led them on this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there. When in that moment, so it came to pass. Titania walked, and straightway loved an ass.
Very good. Titania waked, and straightway loved an ass. There are a number of points in here that are worth catching simply to get the notice that all of this is in verse. My mister with a monster is in love, near to her close and consecrated bower, while she was in her dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus' nuptial day. I'm looking for a part here that I'm having difficulty finding. Here we are. Forsook his scene and entered in a break, when I did him at this disadvantage take. An ass's knoll I fixed upon his head, and his Thisbe must be answered. Notice that when the ed is not a syllable of its own, then it's spelled that way with an apostrophe, entered here. In other words, it's entered and answered, and that extra syllable is necessary when reading this. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. You did it beautifully. What exactly is he talking about here, since we have stopped?
Basically, he's telling Oberon what happened and what he did.
Very good. He's describing the rude mechanicals that work for bread and upon Athenian stalls have come to rehearse a play. intended for great Theseus's nuptial day. So we've got the whole plot here laid out. And then Pyramus, indeed, is one of the character in the play, played by Bottom. He took him at a disadvantage and put the ass's head on him. And then when he uses a simile here, when they him spy as wild geese that the creeping fowler eye, or russet-pated chooks, many in sort, rising and cawing at the gun's report, sever themselves and madly sweep the sky, so at his sight away his fellows fly. What a wonderful but long and rather difficult thing to understand, because what's happening there, of course, is he's saying all of his fellows ran away as soon as they saw him. But he gives this long simile saying exactly the way geese take off when they see the guns report and sweep the sky, and away his fellows fly, you see. Okay, and then the wonderful line, when at that moment so it came to pass, Titania waked and straightway loved an ass. Oberon, your turn. Where's Oberon? Do we have? Wait, that's right. We don't have an Oberon here. We haven't decided on one.
I thought it was Andre.
I think we need you to be Puck. Trevor, would you mind being Oberon? You have to unmute yourself.
Trevor, you okay?
Yes.
There we go.
Oh. This falls out better than I could devise, but hast thou yet latched the Athenian's eyes with the love juice as I did bid thee do?
I took him sleeping, that is finished too, and the Athenian woman by his side, that when he waked, of force she must be eyed.
Okay, now we find out what's really going on here. Go ahead, Oberon.
Stand close. This is the same Athenian.
This is the woman, but not this the man.
Demetrius, we need Demetrius.
We need a Demetrius.
So Demetrius.
Oh, why rebuke you him that loves you so? Lay breath so bitter on your bitter foe. We need a Hermia too.
Oh, Hermia.
Okay, please.
Now I but chide that I should use thee worse, for thou I fear hast given me cause to curse, that thou hast slain Lysander in his sleep, being old shoes in blood plunged in the deep, and kill me too. The sun was not so true unto the day as he to me. Would he have stolen away from sleeping Hermia? I believe as soon this whole earth may be bored, and that the moon may through the central creep, and so displease her brothers, noontide with antipodes.
Antipodes.
Antipodes. It cannot be, but thou hast murdered him. So should a murdered look, so death so grim.
So should the murdered look, and so should I, pierced through the heart with your stern cruelty. Yet you, the murderer, look as bright, as clear, as yonder Venus in her glimmering sphere. We need a Hermia too.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's this to my Lysander? Where is he? Oh, good Demetrius, wilt thou give him me?
I'd rather give his carcass to my hounds.
Out, dog, out, cur, thou drivest me past the bounds of maiden's patience. Hast thou slain him then, henceforth being never numbered among men? Oh, once tell true, even for my sake. Durst thou have looked upon him being awake? And hast thou killed him sleeping? Oh, brave touch! Could not a worm and adder do so much, and adder did it, for with doubler tongue than thine serpent never adder stung.
Very nicely done. Do you all understand what's going on there? Yeah, Hermia wakes up and finds Lysander is gone. Why would Lysander leave her there? Indeed, we know why Lysander leaves her there, don't we? Lysander has had his eyes anointed and has suddenly fallen in love with Helena and is running off with her. And here's Demetrius, and Hermia wakes up and Demetrius is there instead of Lysander. She thinks he's killed Lysander, and so excuses him of such, calls him an adder, calls him a worm, and talks about him being a serpent with a double tongue. Okay, and Demetrius responds. Do we have a Demetrius? Okay, you spend your passion on a misprized mood. I am not guilty of Lysander's blood, nor is he dead for aught that I can tell.
I pray thee, tell me then that he is well.
And if I could, what should I get therefore?
A privilege never to see me more, and from thy hated presence part I so. See me no more, whether he be dead or no.
There is no following her in this fierce vein. Here, therefore, for a while I will remain. So sorrow's heaviness doth heavier grow, for debt that bankrupt sleep doth sorrow owe, which now in some light measure it will pay. It is for his tender here I make some stay, lies down and sleeps. Okay.
What hast thou done? Thou hast mistaken quite, and laid the love juice on some true love's sight. Of thy misprison must perforce ensue some true love turned, and not a false turned true.
And fate were rules that one man holding troth, a million fail, confounding oath on oath.
About the wood go swifter than the wind, and Helena of Athens look through find. All fancy look thou find. All fancy sick she is, and pale of cheer, with sights of love that cost the fresh blood dear. But some illusions see thou bring her here, I'll charm her his eyes against her do appear.
Against she do appear. And indeed, he's going to put the potion on her eyes, but he tells Puck on his eyes, on Demetrius's eyes, and tells Puck to go off and find Helena and bring her here, so that she'll be here when he awakes.
Yes. Okay.
I go. Look how I go. Swifter than arrow from the tortoise bow.
Flower of this purple dye, hit with Cupid's archery. Actually, yeah, you'd say archery, right?
Yes, very possibly.
Sink an apple of what?
So now the pronunciation at the time is often mysterious, but a lot of research has been done on it, and many rhymes that don't rhyme now did rhyme then. We'll talk about that sometime. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Flowers of this purple dye, hit with Cupid's archery, sink an apple of his eye, then his love he doth espy. Sorry, when his love he doth espy, let her shine as glorious lie.
Who knows?
As the Venus of the sky. When thou wakest, if she be by, beg of her for remedy.
Turned. Captain of our fairy band, Helena is here at hand, and the youth mistook by me, pleading for a lover's fee. Shall we there fond pageants see? Lord, what fools these mortals be.
Isn't that a wonderful line? Lord,
beautiful
what
line.
fools these mortals be.
Stand aside. The noise they make shall cause Demetrius to awake.
Then we'll two at once woo one. That must needs be sport alone. And those things do their best to please me, that befall preposterously. Preposterously.
This is Puck in a nutshell. This is Then will two at once woo one. That must needs be sport alone, and those things do best please me that befall preposterously. And in many interpretations, it's made very clear that Puck intentionally mistakes things and screws them up. Okay, and we're back to the Athenians.
Yes.
We need a couple of Athenians here. How are you folks holding up? Are
Fine.
you
Good. I can be one.
okay?
Okay, yeah. Andre, you be Lysander.
Okay.
Who is Helena? I think Esther, you're Helena, right? Or
She was
no,
Helena
you're
last time, so.
yeah. So you be Helena, and then Dennis, you can be Lysander.
Sounds good.
I thought I was Lysander.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Demetrius.
You be Lysander.
You be Demetrius. Sorry.
And I start.
I guess it's right here.
Yeah. Okay. Why should you think that I should woo and scorn? Scorn and derision never come in tears. Look, when I vow, I weep, and vows so born. In their nativity, all truth appears. How can these things in me seem scorn to you, bearing the badge of faith to prove them true?
You do advise your cunning more and more. When truth kills truth, oh devilish holy fray! These vows are Hermia's. Will you give her or weigh oath with oath, and you will nothing weigh? Your vows to her and me put in two scales, will even weigh, and both as light as tails.
Okay. I'm sorry. This is just a little tricky here to understand what's going on here. Helena knows Lysander is in love with Hermia, and she's utterly baffled at why Lysander would suddenly be making a pass at her. And so that's why she responds, "These vows are Hermia's," and he doesn't. She doesn't take it seriously at all. Yet Lysander is indeed in love with her, even if it's chemical infatuation. Sorry, go ahead, Lysander.
I had no judgment when to her I swore.
Nor none in my mind now you give her o'er.
Demetrius loves her, and he loves not you.
So enter Demetrius. Okay, we have a Demetrius. Oh, Helena, goddess, nymph, perfect, divine, to what, my love, shall I compare thine eyne? Crystal is muddy, oh, how ripe in show thy lips, those kissing cherries tempting grow. That pure congealed white high Taurus snow, fanned with the eastern wind, turns to a crow when thou holdest up thy hand. Oh, let me kiss the princess of pure white, this seal of bliss.
Oh spite, oh hell, I see you all are bent to set against me for your merriment. If you were civil and you courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. Can you not hate me as I now you do? But you must join in souls to mock me too. If you were a man as man you are in show, you would not use a gentle lady so to vow and swear praise my parts, when I am sure you hate me with your hearts. You both are rivals and love Hermia, and now both rivals to mock Helena. A triumph explode, a manly enterprise, to conjure tears up in a poor maid's eyes, with your derision. None of noble sort would so offend a virgin, and extort a poor soul's patient ought to make you sport.
You understand her response, of course. She doesn't believe this at all. It makes no sense. And yet they're all so earnest about it. They're effectively playing a role in her eyes, but indeed they're serious in their own. Lysander.
You are unkind, Demetrius. Be not so, for you love Hermia, and you know I know. Oh, this you know, I know. And here, with all goodwill, with all my heart, in Hermia's love, I yield you up my part, and yours of Helena to me bequeath. whom I do love and will do till my death.
Very good.
Never did mockers waste more idle breath.
Uh, this is somebody. Lysander, keep thy Hermia, I will none. If e'er I loved her, all that love is gone. My heart to her but as guest-wise sojourned, and now to Helen it is home returned, there to remain.
Helen, it is not so.
Disparage not the faith thou dost not know, lest to thy peril thy abbey dear. Look, where thy love comes, yonder is thy dear. We enter Hermia. Hermia! Do we have a Hermia?
Wasn't that...
Puck, would you like to be Hermia? Okay, Hermia.
Who's Hermia?
I think Esther was.
Yeah. No, Esther was Helena.
Yeah, I think Esther was Helena.
Yeah, Holly, you can be
Holly.
All right.
We haven't got enough characters, so we've got to ask Puck to come out of the bushes and act one of the roles.
Dark night, that from the eye his function takes, the ear more quick of apprehension makes. Wherein it doth impair the seeing sense, it pays the hearing double recompense. Thou art not by mine eye, Lysander, found. Mine ear, I thank it, brought me to thy sound. But why, unkindly, didst thou lead me so?
Why should he stay, whom love doth press to go?
What love could press Lysander from my side?
Lysander's love, that would not let him bide. Fair Helena, who more engilds the night than all you fiery O's and eyes of light? Why seek thou me? Could not this make thee know? The hate I bear thee made me leave thee so.
You speak not as you think. It cannot be.
Lo, she is one of this confederacy. Now I perceive they have conjured all three to fashion this false sport in spite of me. Injurious Hermia, most ungrateful maid, have you conspired, have you with these contrived to bait me with this foul division? Is all the counsel that we two have shared, the sisters' vows, the hours that we have spent, when we have tried the hasty-footed time for...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to stop and look at that. Chide is a wonderful verb, but it's an irregular verb. The past tense is chid. Today I chide. Yesterday I chid. Sorry. Go ahead.
For parting us, oh, is it all forgot? All school days, friendship, childhood innocence. We Hermia, like two artificial gods, have with our needles created both one flower, both on one sampler, sitting on one cushion, both warbling of one song, both in one key, as if our hands, our sides, voices, and minds have been incorporated. So we grow together, like to a double cherry, seeming parted, but yet in union and partition. Two lovely berries molded on one stem, so with two seeming bodies with but one heart. Two of the first like coats in heraldry. Two but to one and crowned with Christ. And will you rent our ancient love asunder to join with men in scorning your poor friend? It is not friendly, it is not maidenly. Our sex, as well as I, may chide you for it. Thou, I alone do feel the injury.
Does everybody understand that? Beautifully done, Esther. Nicely done.
Thank
so
you.
Apparently, Helena and Hermia have grown up together. They've been bosom buddies all their lives, and so Suddenly Helena turns, she feels that Hermia is part of this confederacy that's trying to mock her. And this is not friendly, is not matingly to join with men in scorning your poor friend. Okay, Hermia.
I'm amazed at your passionate words. I scorn you not. It seems that you scorn me.
Have you not set Lysander as in scorn to follow me and praise my eyes and face, and made your other love Demetrius, who even but now did spurn me with his foot, to call me goddess nymph divine and rare, precious celestial.
Celestial.
Celestial. Wherefore speaks he this to her he hates, and wherefore doth Lysander deny your love, so rich within his soul, and tender me for soul affection, but by your setting on by your consent? What thought I be not so engraced as you, so hung upon with love so fortunate, but miserable most to love unloved. This you should pity rather than despise.
Nicely done.
I understand not what you mean by this.
I do, preserver, counterfeit sad looks, make mouths upon me when I turn my back, wink each at other, hold the sweet jest up. This sport, well carried, shall be
chronicled.
Chronicled. If you have any pity, grace, or manners, you would not make me such an argument. But fare ye well, 'tis partly my own fault, which death or absence soon shall remedy.
Oh, beautifully. That's such a marvelous thing. Let's just make sure we understand. Helena is being very sarcastic at this point. She's saying, oh, go ahead, persevere, counterfeit sad looks, pretend to look sad, make mouths upon me when I turn my back. In other words, when you're not looking, you talk to each other about what you're doing and mock me. Wink at each other, hold the sweet jest up. This sport well carried shall be chronicled. This will be recorded and remembered forever, this joke that you played upon me. If you have any pity, grace, or manners, you would not make me such an argument. And indeed, at the end, she says, 'tis partly my own fault, which death or absence soon shall remedy. She is close to utter despondence at that point. Lysander?
Also?
Sorry.
Also, if you go up a little bit,
Okay.
they misspelled Hermia, so it's hernia.
Oh, indeed. Okay.
Her name is Hermia now.
Yeah, her name's Hernia now.
No, Hermia is our twin sister, guys. It's
You're
Hermia
Hernia.
and Hermia.
Okay. But let's continue this just a little bit when it's going to come to a head very shortly here. Lysander?
Stay gentle, Helena. Hear my excuse. My love, my life, my soul, fair Helena.
Oh, excellent.
It's a sarcastic excellent. Oh, excellent. Okay. Hermia.
Do not scorn her so.
If she cannot entreat, I can compel.
Thou canst compel no more than she entreat. Thy threats have no more strength than her weak prayers. Helen, I love thee. Be my life, I do. I swear by that which I lose for thee to prove him false that says I love thee not.
I say I love thee more than he can do.
Oh. Away, you
if thou say so.
Oh, I'm over there. If thou say so, withdraw and prove it too.
Quick, come.
Lysander, where tends all this?
Away, you Ethiop.
No, no, he'll seem to break loose, take on as you would follow, but yet come not. You are a tame man. Go.
Hang off. Oh. You're gonna say...
Lysander, you've got more.
Okay. Hang off, thou cat, thou burr, vile thing. Let loose, or I will shake thee from me like a serpent.
Why are you grown so rude? What change is this, sweet love?
Thy love, out, tawny tartar, out. Out, loathe medicine, hatred potion, hence.
Do not jest.
Yes, smooth. And so do you.
Demetrius, I will keep my word with thee.
I would I had your bond, for I perceive a weak bond holds you. I'll not trust your word.
What? Should I hurt her, strike her, kill her dead? Although I hate her, I will not harm her so.
What can you do me greater harm than hate? Hates me. Wherefore? Oh me, what news, my love? Am not I Hermia? Are not you, Lysander? I am as fair now as I was erewhile. Since night you loved me, yet since night you left me. Why then you left me? Oh, the gods forbid! In earnest shall I say?
Aye, by my life, and never did desire to see thee more. Therefore be out of hope, of question, of doubt. Be certain, nothing truer, 'tis no jest, that I do hate thee and love Helena.
Oh me, you juggler, you canker blossom, you thief of love! What have you come by night, and stolen my love's heart from him?
Fine, I faith. Have you no modesty, no maiden shame, no touch of bashfulness? What will you tear patient answers from a gentle tongue? Fie, fie, you confident, you puppet, you.
Fie, you counterfeit, you puppet, you. Sorry, go ahead, Hermia.
Puppet? Why so? Aye, that way goes the game. Now I perceive that she hath made compare between our statures. She hath urged her height, and with her personage, her tall personage, her height, forsooth, she hath prevailed with him. And are you grown so high in his esteem? I am so dwarfish and so low. How low am I, thou painted maypole? Speak. How low am I? I am not yet so low, but that my nails can reach unto thine eyes.
I pray you that you mock me, gentlemen. Let her not hurt me. I was never cursed. I have no gift at all in shrewishness. I am a right maid for my cowardice. Let her not strike me, you perhaps may think, because she is something lower than myself, that I can match her.
Lower? Hark again.
Good Hermia, do not be so bitter with me. I evermore did love you, Hermia. Did ever keep your counsels, never wronged you, save that in love unto Demetrius. I told him of your stealth unto this wood. He followed you, for love I followed him. But he had chid me hence. Chid me hence, and threatened me to strike me, spur me, nay, to kill me too. And now so you will let me quite go. To Athens will I bear my folly back, and follow you no further. Let me go. You see how simple and how fond I am.
Why, get you gone. Who is't that hinders you?
A foolish heart that I leave here behind.
What, with Lysander?
With Demetrius.
With Demetrius, she's still in love with Demetrius. She's just baffled by all of this. Suddenly Demetrius is after her, but so is Lysander. Lysander.
Be not afraid. She shall not harm thee, Helena.
No, sir, she shall not, though you take her part.
Oh, when she is angry, she is keen and shrewd. She was a vixen when she went to school, and thou she but little she is fierce.
Little again? Nothing but low and little. Why will you suffer her to flout me thus? Let me come to her.
Get you gone, you dwarf, you minimus of hindering not grass made, you bead, you acorn.
You are too officious on her behalf that scorns your services. Let her alone, speak not of Helena, take not her part, for if thou dost intend never so little show of love to her, thou shalt have it.
Now she holds me not. Now follow, if thou darest, to try whose right, of thine or mine, is most in Helena.
Follow, nay, I'll go with thee cheek by jowl.
You mistress, all this quail is long of you. Nay, go not back.
I will not trust you, nor longer stay in your cursed company. Your hands than mine are quicker for a fray. My legs are longer, though, to run away.
I am amazed, and know not what to say.
Okay, we are among the immortals again. Let's assume our
I
previous
return this
roles.
puck.
Okay, yes, Puck
this
gets
is
a...
thy This is thy negligence. Still thy mistakest, or else committest thy knaveries willfully.
Believe me, King of Shadows, I mistook. Did not you tell me I should know the man by the Athenian garment he had on? And so far blameless proves my enterprise, that I have anointed an Athenian's eyes, and so far am I glad it did so sort. As is there dangling, I esteem a sport.
Thou seest these lovers seek a place to fight. High therefore, Robin, overcast the night. The starry welkin cover thou anon, with drooping fog as black as Acheron,
Acheron, I believe, yeah.
Okay, Acheron. And lead these testy rivals so astray, as one come not within another's way. Like to Lysander, sometime frame thy tongue, and then stir Demetrius up with bitter wrong. And sometimes rail thou like Demetrius, and from each other look thou, lead them thus, till o'er their bowers death counterfeiting sleep, with laden legs and batty wings doth creep. Then crush this herb into Lysander's eye, whose liquor hath this virtuous property, to take from thence all error from his might, and make his eyeballs roll with wonted sight. Then thy next wake, all this derision shall seem a dream and fruitless vision, and back to Athens shall the lovers wend, with leagues whose date till death shall never end. Whiles I in this affair do thee employ, all to my queen and beg her Indian boy, and then I will her charmed eye release from monster's view, and all things shall be peace.
Nicely done. Any words in there anybody has trouble with? What has Oberon charged Puck with doing?
Leading the two, Demetrius and Lysander, like apart, and then having them sleep, and then removing the love stuff from the herb.
I always have trouble with that.
Crushing another herb into Lysander's eye, which will make the
Antidote.
other one. Yeah, it's the antidote.
Very good, Trevor. Absolutely right. So
and he will. And then Oberon will go and try to weasel the Indian boy from Titania, and then wake her up.
Excellent. Right, all the way through. Yeah, indeed, Oberon is a sympathetic character, and realizing that having created all of this mess unintentionally, he's got to straighten it out. He can't very well let Demetrius and Lysander go and have a duel and one of them kill the other one. So he has Puck go and pretend to be the voice of Lysander and lead Demetrius away and pretend to be the voice of Demetrius, so that they cannot find each other in the wood, so that they can't possibly kill each other. And I think this part is a good one here, but I'm not sure. Well, let's go ahead and do a little more if you're up for it.
My fairy lord, this must be done with haste, for night's swift dragons cut the clouds full fast. Face. And yonder shines Aurora's harbinger, at whose approach ghosts wandering here and there troop home to churchyards, damned spirits all, that in crossways and floods have burial. Already to their wormy beds are gone, for fear lest day should look their shames upon. They willfully themselves exile from light, and must for aye consort with black-browed night.
Beautifully poetic, isn't that? Night is coming, we better hurry.
But we are spirits of another sort. I with the morning's love have oft made sport, and like a forester the groves may tread, even till the eastern gate, all fiery red, opening on Neptune with fair blessed beams, turns into yellow gold his salt green streams. But notwithstanding haste, make no delay, we may effect this business yet ere day.
Okay, this one you have to do.
Up and down, I will lead them up and down. I am feared in field and town. Goblin, lead them up and down. Here comes one.
Very good. I think this is probably a good place to stop. But of course, they go off and they get cozened off into different directions, and then Puck is standing there, putting them to sleep one at a time and making sure they end up in the same place. And let's see, I'm trying to look for a specific line or two here, but I don't see it. But three, let's one more. Two of both kinds makes up four. There it is. Yet but three, come one more. Two of both kinds makes up four. Here she comes, cursed and sad. Cupid is a knavish lad, thus to make poor females mad. And then they gradually sorting them out and putting them down on the ground so that they will go asleep. Okay. Any questions on this? Did it all make sense to everyone?
Yep.
It's an absolutely wonderful scene. It is so classic and can be interpreted in so many different ways. But indeed, it's a situation comedy in a sense, but it's such an absurd situation that so much can be done with it. But of course, this is only one of a number of different things going on in here. We have the rustics yet, who have to act out their play, and we have the Indian boy, and this Indian boy is an interesting part that's left out of many versions of it, but basically it follows the tradition of fairies and the assumption that fairies desire changelings, that they will capture somebody from the human world and replace them with something else, a changeling. And it's a rather pernicious practice and tradition, but that's what this Indian boy is. And Titania, of course, has a better claim perhaps to the Indian boy as the boy's mother was one of her order, and the mother died. Titania wants to take care of the boy, but she ends up becoming Oberon's henchman. Lots of little parts to it. All kinds of wonderful parts to do next time, I think. Okay, Have we reached the limit of your endurance?
I don't know.
Okay, let's just go back quickly to our agenda here. Make
Okay.
sure that we're doing everything that we want to be doing.
I also said I already sent in my project to Writers Forum.
Very good, thank you. Perfect. Okay, so we doing Midsummer Night's Dream. All of this we have gone through, the Ngram viewer and the Baron's word list. We didn't do that this time. And we didn't really get to discussing assignments beyond the Wind of the Willows, beyond the Midsummer Night's Dream. But that's fine. We will get to that material later. And also I have some further poems that I put together, but we won't get to them this week, perhaps next time. Does anybody have any requests, material that you'd like to work on more?
No, I think it's good so far.
Okay, very good, very good. Wonderful class. Thank you all
Very.
for
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You have done wonderfully with this. And let me know if you run out of material that you need to work with. I think that Jonathan Miller will keep you going for a while, but let's focus on Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay.
I'm actually almost done with Jonathan Miller.
Very good, very good. Yeah, let's watch a few different interpretations of it, and we will interpret it our own way as well. Okay, we will call that it for today, and see you next week then.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Next week.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Jing.